Hot Bob is busy on the ones and twos, trying to make some last-second notes here for college football. Clayne Crawford is in the building as well. University of Alabama fan, diehard. The top 25 rankings just came out via Sports Illustrated, but let's face it, most of these are the same, right? We know who the recruits are. We know who most of these guys are. And today we're going to walk you through all the gambling odds of most of these teams, not only to win the national championship, but also the Heisman Trophy. We'll start with you, Mr. Crawford. Bama keeps reloading. It feels like this is going to happen until Saban dies.
I cannot disagree with that.
And is the talk around town, is he going to leave anytime soon, or is this just...
I mean, I think they kind of addressed that during SEC Media Days, and he kind of made the statement, what would I do? Mm-hmm. You know, I think he's kind of built this program in a place where it is kind of a plug and play. And I mean, granted, you still got to get the athletes kind of motivated, and I would imagine just how you communicate with young kids is certainly, changed with social media and so forth. But you look at somebody like Bear Bryant, right? He retired, and 6 months later he passed away. Yep. Yeah, I think was the window. So I think he's kind of devoted himself, and just with his health, I don't see him going anywhere.
Any chance he goes to aid, like athletic director or something like that, and leaves the on-field stuff?
I honestly think
coaching stuff.
There's an article that came out yesterday about that he in I think it was right after the kick six, he had told his agent to kind of reach out to ESPN as an analyst. Mm-hmm. I think that excites him, which we always see him kind of on panels if Bama isn't in the playoffs or in the national championship conversation. So I kind of think maybe he would go there as opposed to maybe kind of.
Well, look, that market's set now by Tom Brady, right? Like, he set the market for that. It's 10 years, like $370 million, I think they offered him.
Yeah, 375.
And that's about what you would expect Saban to get as well, which is quite a bit more than what he makes. $11 million a year at Bama, and then he probably makes another 10 to 15.
Yeah, there's definitely
in sponsorships, something like that.
He's got car dealerships.
But that's not $40 million a year, right? Which is
he actually loses money on that too. He gives too many away to the recruits.
Amazing.
Well, you have to get him there these days, and it's all legal, so there's nothing you can do about it. Unfortunately for the rest of college football, the issue of parity keeps coming up, Bob. We're going to listen to the same 5 teams in the top 5 that we've heard for the last 10 years, essentially. Minus, plus or minus one team in there.
The top 10 switches around quite a bit. It's more that the top 3 to 5 is what stays the same. Because you have plenty of teams like, fuck, dude, Missouri is not a good football school, and we have 2 top 5 finishes in the last 15 years. Like, people pop in and out.
Right.
So that's what keeps you addicted to this fucking nightmare of a sport that you can never win.
Chasing fucking cars, man. Just a dog chasing cars.
It is, isn't it? That's what it feels like. I mean, every year it's, Ohio State, Alabama, usually Oklahoma. I don't know about this year.
But even then?
Georgia.
You have one. Right. You have one. Yep. This guy's got like 9.
Yeah. So Ohio State, let's look at the last 20 years, right? Ohio State has won twice. I think LSU has won twice. How many has Bama
LSU
won?
has 3 in the last 20 years.
Do they really?
Yes.
Saban has 1.
Saban has 6 just at Alabama, but like I was saying before, I think since 2014 when he was talking to ESPN, he's won 3. So just to think about that, 3 national championships since 2014.
Okay, so in 8 years he's won 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
6.
Which would make you, if you have won 3 championships, you're bordering on blue blood. Texas is still skating on 3 national championships.
That's right.
Yeah, and they don't deserve that anymore.
No. I'm so excited. Will you come back?
Are you
week
coming
2.
back? Are you coming
We've
back
got
week
tickets
2?
already.
We've got tickets.
Definitely coming back for the game.
For Bama,
September 10th,
Texas.
100%.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
We're doing a tailgate that day with this particular beverage.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think Sark's a great.
No, he's not.
Just stop.
Don't stop. He was the OC of the Falcons too. He was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons.
And wasn't that their worst?
Goddamn right it was.
That was
the
the
worst year we've
season.
ever had.
It
And
was
got
a
him
year
out of there.
after.
It's funny.
Homeboy left
He's like
San
Lane
Francisco.
Kiffin, where he just continues to fail upwards.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
He's got a cool name. It's fun to say, so you're like, hey, I'll give that guy a job. All things
Who
being
is
equal.
he fucking though? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And they're just, what's he going to do? I don't know. And what he just signed, did he get Manning?
He got Manning and he got Quinn Ewers, the transfer from Ohio State.
Let's be honest, though. Manning is really, without that last name, He's really a what?
He's a 4-star, right?
Maybe
there are people talking
three,
shit
dude.
saying he's a 3-star without that last name.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. Luckily, they got Quinn Ewers ahead of him. He was number 1. Was at Ohio State. Was just behind C.J. Stroud. He went into the office afterwards, asked Coach Day if he was going to start next year because he needed 8 starts to get his $1.4 million in NIL deals. And Coach Day said, no, the guy that's starting is a freshman and was second in the Heisman Trophy. So you can get the fuck out of here. And they went and shopped him to Texas. He got $10 million.
I don't know why he didn't go Texas in the first place. That's a huge, that's a massive black eye on Texas football that they weren't able to lock that kid who lives 25 miles away.
No. So it was the state of Texas's fault. They were one of the states that didn't fall into the NIL deal in high school. So he graduated as a junior.
Yeah, 17.
Cashed in, took the money, went to Ohio State at 17 years old, and then came back to Texas when he was 18 so he could get the money. But that was a weird loophole where Texas as a state wouldn't allow him to collect that money. So we'll see if he's any good this year. He's got certainly one of the greatest running backs in college football. Bijan Robinson is back there.
That's right.
But beyond that, I don't really know much about this team. They were terrible last year.
He's gonna die in week 2 or 3, whenever Alabama comes.
Week 2.
I mean, look, they've got there's 3 guys that have transferred from Bama to that are going to have an immediate impact in Texas for
All
sure.
Texas has to do, by the way, is not get beat by more than 2 touchdowns to claim victory in that game.
They also
What
have
is it,
an
a Najee
insane
Hall?
offensive line right now.
That wide receiver.
Who UT does?
Yeah, UT's got like an insane offensive line.
Well, they paid them $50,000 apiece, as well as their defensive line starters, so you're getting a full salary. And, yeah, that drew a lot of kids in. But I'm with you. I think they get smoked week 2 by Bama. That spread is in on mybookie.com. It is currently 15.5. Bama. And then now they fucked you guys. You know this? Since
11 o'clock.
11 a.m.
Well, we knew that was going to happen when Fox fucking got it.
Well,
Right?
the Big 12 got one game to move time-wise. And since Texas was leaving and going to the SEC, they said, oh, hey, is all your alumni coming back for the Bama game?
Love it.
Fuck you guys. That's going to be 11 a.m.
Again, when Fox announced they had that game, we all knew that was going to be
Oh,
some
yeah.
bullshit.
They want the
noon
money.
game.
They don't give a fuck
It's like,
about
this is a
people going to
prime
the game.
time. This is the
Yeah.
biggest game we've had in the first 2 weeks, and you guys are going to junk us at that time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Texas, though, Jimbo with that slate, I mean, I'm not saying his ass is on the hot seat, but it's like, hey, buddy, if you can't pull it together with that much talent down there and the amount of money that university spent to put that roster together,
Yeah. This is it. This is the
this
year.
is shit or get off the pot.
And it's
This is
funny.
the year.
It's funny at the SEC media events where now he's pretending like there's no beef between him and Saban. Like, dude, there's beef.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Saban's the one that
There's an
started it,
entire
kinda.
side of goddamn beef.
Yeah.
Saban just called it out. He's like, look, I mean, you guys just bought this team. Like, get real.
Yeah. Look, Bama's buying their players, too, but everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
Like,
but
Ohio
they were
State's
doing.
it.
Bama was doing it when it was cool and illegal to do it.
Yeah.
Now
Now it's just cringe.
it's a loophole, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's kind of come on, man. Speaking of stupid shit people believe, Craig Dulesky just gave us $100 that says that Iowa is going to beat Ohio State on October 22nd, which also happens to he's one of our good buddies, which also happens to be one of it happens to be his wife's due date for their baby.
Oh,
If
guys.
that happens, dude,
I will wear an Iowa jersey the rest of the year on the show.
Is it at Iowa?
Yes.
I-
believe.
It's a spooky place.
They
It
win
is.
games like that.
Yeah,
Spooky place.
It's a weird place.
it's got to
for
be
sure.
a weird place
Not
to
that
be
early in the season. If this was if this was like mid-November, maybe
Snow
they
on
could
the
slip
ground.
up.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
come on, not going to happen week 2.
I mean, they're going to throw probably 40% of their passes to a tight end.
Oh, yeah, that's all they do.
So it's like, this
your
is
boy
college.
Riley Smith would love it.
This is
Okay.
college.
You're the
No,
process,
it's
Rose.
good, but it's like college. If you're depending on your tight end, it's probably not going to work out for you,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah, you're
on.
fucked. You're absolutely fucked.
I hope it happens, though, because I want to see you fucking miserable.
Nah.
It's one of my favorite things to
Not going to happen
experience.
this year. So what we'll do, kids, is we'll go through the top 25, and then we'll pick our national champion, because we do this way too early college football preview show. You were here for it. We are less than 5 weeks away from kickoff. Actually, 4 weeks from tomorrow. A lot of people don't know this, but they actually started a week in
There's
advance.
Thursday and
now.
Friday games.
Correct. A week in advance, and they're the shittier teams, and they're trying to showcase those guys.
But now they're doing Thursday and Friday games throughout the whole season, which I love.
Same. I
'Cause
love it too. And I love it for gambling as well.
Women hate
It's
it.
great for gambling, but it's also women. My wife hates it. No,
It's like, you
but
mean
it's giving these programs an opportunity. Yes.
there were 2 days a week I have to put up with this. Now it's 4, you piece of shit.
Well, now so I tell my wife, I'm like, really? Actually, now you only get 2 days off.
That's it.
It's really Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, it's game time.
And then, Bob, don't they have Mac After Dark now on Tuesdays, or is that Wednesday?
I mean,
I think it's Wednesday, right?
The MAC kind of rotates along with the Sun Belt. Sun Belt's Wednesday, MAC
Yeah.
Tuesday, but that's later in the season.
okay.
Yeah. Also, I would like to preface everything with the preseason top 25 is always trash. They put zero effort into it. They just put like brand names up there. Like, let's just kind of like throw. Some
Whoa,
names
let's
out there.
get into the fucking
hold on,
show.
just real quick.
Yeah,
Is this the
You seem-
UCF fan?
I think he's heated because UCF isn't in this.
Fan and alumni.
No,
I
that's
haven't
okay.
looked. I haven't
So
looked.
the Knights
We're
aren't
not.
included?
We're not.
Oh.
We're names to be. We're like
Okay.
receiving.
But you
votes.
should be included.
Honorable
because
mention.
of the roster.
Honorable mention. Yeah.
Not yet, but there's some teams up there that should not be ranked.
Well, we'll find out.
I think
now.
Clemson's one of them.
Yeah, we'll
get there.
find out now. Number 25 is the Michigan State Spartans. Look, I'm assuming because Kenneth Walker is gone this year, superstar running back for them. He was essentially their entire team. They also had a really good defense, and they play well for Mel Tucker. So
No.
Where are you seeing this?
Yeah, where are you seeing this? This is not the top
On Sports
25.
Illustrated, I'm looking at theirs from July
got
5th, and it's
Tennessee.
Tennessee at 25th.
Yeah, I think you might have the wrong year.
do I have the? Hang on.
The AP just dropped yesterday.
Oh, did the AP drop yesterday?
Yeah,
We'll use
yeah.
the AP. That's fine.
Do you want me to just?
Yeah, I've got
Read 'em off?
I've got 2022
Yeah, put it up on the screen.
on SI, but that's fine.
All right.
I'll go there.
This
So
is
did the
ESPN FPI.
Yeah,
That's what
if
this
the
one is.
AP dropped, it dropped. AP 2022.
Yeah, this is from July 25th, 2022.
Okay, great. College football rankings. I'll use that one. It's fine. I don't really care. Not that it really changes that much.
CollegeFootballNews.com.
CollegeFootballNews.com.
They got
There we go.
Iowa 25.
All right, hang on.
We're all working off different fucking websites.
That's fine. Yeah, so that's fine. They got Iowa at 25. Michigan State is 18 in this one. That's fine. Iowa. So this will be your perfect example of throwing a team in there. I don't know anybody on this Iowa team except for their tight end.
Do you ever?
No, you
So-
never do.
And sometimes they're a top 15 team. Sometimes they're a top 30 team. Every once in a great while, they'll be a top 10 team. This is what they fucking do.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Now, granted, they had a top 25 recruiting class in 2021, and I think maybe a decent one in 2020. So they might actually have like some dudes.
I made a mistake.
Oh, you did again.
The rankings are not out.
God fucking
dude.
damn
My
it.
God, are you fucking? Are you kidding me?
All these fucking
You stopped the
I don't
show
know how-
for that?
I don't know how
websites have their
anyone
own
expects
top
You
25
me.
stopped
rankings.
the show
Sports
for
Illustrated,
that?
SI.com has the ESPN FPI Top 25. It starts 25th with Tennessee Volunteers, which is probably a little bit low for them, to be honest.
No.
I agree.
No,
with
I
that.
don't buy it.
Fucking Heupel sucks.
I know,
Josh Heupel
but
sucks.
I understand all that, but Tennessee, for just because of the strength of schedule, right? They're going to end up 16 to 18 at least in this fucking.
Look, I don't know how much
year.
Tennessee you guys watch. Tennessee was playing really good football last year.
They
They're
were.
coming on.
I agree.
In the transfer portal, I think they've been able to kind of capitalize on that a little bit.
And with the ability to buy players, they've
Yep.
bought some players
Yep.
there. I think they're going to be a decent team. I think they're higher than 25.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be on upset alert for a lot of people.
They are
No.
going to get higher than 25. They didn't do very well in the transfer market, by the way.
We'll see where they're finished. I think they're going to
to
finish 16 to 18.
They're not even in the top 50 transfer.
You know
market.
why he hates Tennessee, right?
What is that?
Heupel was
Josh-
that was the coach of.
Well,
He was the
Yeah.
OC at Missouri, too. We have seen his offenses
Yeah.
up close.
It's
They're
not that we
fucking
hate
terrible.
Look, I hate Tennessee because I hate Tennessee. I'm an Alabama fan, but the point is they're coming along and they're going to.
They're not.
So-
I remember Heupel actually.
They're not.
Heupel being let go or him leaving UCF was I love that. I was so happy. We upgraded to Gus Malzahn and then also Tennessee, enjoy him. He runs 4 fucking plays. He has 4 plays in his fucking offensive playbook.
Just
So
got excited
Heupel-
about Gus Malzahn. on.
Dude, Heupel eats alive shitty teams.
Oh,
He is
yeah.
a fucking stat compiler.
Also, are you going to chirp Malzahn? Malzahn has the most success against Saban in the last 10 years.
That's very true. That's very true. With some pretty surprisingly magical acts. I think there was a kick six. I think there was some.
The kick six was a miracle.
Yeah, it was a miracle. I mean, they call it the miracle at Jordan Hare. There's so many of them.
Oh, the one
because
the
it
week
takes-
before that with fucking
with Georgia.
Yeah.
the fucking tip
That
pass.
one was obscene.
So in another
Look,
SI,
Georgia's obscene and they're trash, and so is Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, and the other SI poll, they got Tennessee at 8, and they're saying the combination of
What?
Hendon Hooker and
that's
Cedric
awful.
Tillman might just be the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the SEC this coming season. And that's saying that with a Heisman Trophy quarterback at Alabama.
And what's his name? The kid out of Louisville that just
Yeah.
transferred? Come on.
They're a bottom third, top 25 team, but
At-
they're not fucking top 10. Get the fuck out.
They
of
are
here,
not
man.
even going to win 10 games. They are
No,
not.
they'll win 8
They
games.
will not
probably.
win 10 games.
They are
8-9 games.
Yeah.
at
But
the
for what
most,
that
yeah.
program has been through,
Yeah.
I say winning 8 games for them is going to be a win.
Probably.
Yeah.
But so
Considering what the
Tennessee,
program's been through.
Tennessee has a top 10 offense-ish, I guess statistically going into the season. Their defense, like every Heupel team, their defense pretty much sucks. It's barely top 50. And here's the thing. If a Heupel team doesn't, like a Heupel coach team doesn't have a really good defense, they're not as fucked as normal. They're extra fucked. Because his offense, when it doesn't work, is off the field in a minute and 30 seconds. Not a minute and 30 seconds on the fucking game clock. Just in life, they go so fucking fast, and when it doesn't work, you're fucked, and it's over, and your defense is gassed before the end of the first half. I've seen it happen so many times. Dan has watched it happen. This team is going to lose games they shouldn't lose. They'll do something weird like, I don't know, maybe give Bama a game for a half or something something crazy like that, but then get fucking smoked in the second
Well, it's
half.
1,100 to 1 for them to win the national title.
Yeah.
What do you got on that? It's a plus 11,000.
I didn't even
but
put a
see,
dollar on it.
If you're ranked in the top 10, you shouldn't be that long of odds. So
Yeah.
Vegas knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Who do you got at 24, D'Anthony?
24, we got Mississippi State. It's Mike Leach, right?
Yep.
So he's still trying to do the oop-de-oop fucking offense in the SEC.
Yeah. Not
gonna
we'll
work.
see.
No,
we'll
not
see.
gonna work.
I mean, look,
I enjoy him.
statistically speaking, it's like the universe. It's really big, right? Over a long enough time period, there's a chance this might work. But it's the goddamn SEC. It's not going to work.
Well, I will say this.
I hate to agree. And you know
they'll
how
let him
much,
do it. They'll
Yeah,
let
It's
him do
fun
it.
having, but just having him do press conferences in the SEC is nice.
That's
If
why
you're
he's
going to be
there.
like the
That's why
fifth
we all
best team in
enjoy
the SEC, be the fifth best team that's notable for one thing.
Yeah.
It's better than being the fifth best team that just sucks at everything, right?
Right.
I mean, shit.
It's just
and
that-
I hate to agree with this. This is like I'm dangerously close to agreeing with Feinbaum here, and that makes me want to kill myself.
Yeah.
Because he's like James Carville without any of the talent, right? He's the college football's James Carville with no talent. I hate that guy.
And
I
honestly-
hate Feinbaum too.
But this
College
is
football,
this is
James
actually
Carville is almost the college football James Carville.
Yeah,
really.
pretty much, yeah. He should be the commissioner of college football for sure.
Oh,
For the
absolutely.
SEC, I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mississippi State, that's probably about right for them. They'll probably be somewhere between 20 and 25 at the end
This
of the
team
year.
is barely going to go 500. They have not
Yeah,
had a
but
top 25
I
recruiting
promise you,
class.
they were 7-6 last year and finished about the same level. Like it's because of the SEC schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how the rankings work. They'll be in the fucking top 25.
Yeah.
Which
I don't
is
think so.
weird.
They obviously they have to play the entire SEC West. They haven't had a single top 25 recruiting class under Mike Leach. Which, by the way, if in for a normal conference, that doesn't matter that much. If you're like still top 30 or whatever, for the SEC, if you're not top 15, you might as well just not fucking exist.
So they play A&M, Auburn, Georgia, Arkansas at home, and then they have Alabama on the road.
Yeah, that's five losses right there.
That's 5 losses.
They got to play Memphis too.
Oh, and by the way, they have to play at Kentucky, which is going to
That's tough
suck
too,
ass
yeah.
for them. That's not a good.
Especially for a team that can be off the field,
Oh.
like you were talking about in a minute 30. Kentucky's going to run the ball the whole
Yep.
goddamn
100%.
time.
So their two East matchups are Kentucky's probably their permanent East one, and then they catch Georgia. They get Georgia at home, but they catch Georgia. So they're probably going to lose both of their cross-divisional matchups. Like,
Yeah.
where's the win? Where is even the single win in the SEC for them this year?
It's going to be tough to come by unless they
Auburn?
figured it out.
Probably
with-
Auburn.
Yeah, probably Auburn with the air raid off. Who knows? Maybe not Auburn. We don't know.
Auburn's struggling, though.
They're
so
pretty down.
many kids left that program. And what Harsin went through, I mean, the fact that he was able to overcome that.
They're trying to fire him.
Yeah.
They're
But
literally trying to get
it
rid
was
of
a
Harsin.
smear campaign. It was, I mean, again, that guy, he seems like a pretty good dude, and they truly tried to run him out of that office.
Well, the weird thing to me was they should have won the Bama game easily last year. I mean, all they had to do was run the fucking ball.
Not go out of bounds.
That's
Let's
it.
be honest.
And that game is over.
Yeah,
and
if Tank had stayed in, that would have been a ball game.
And Alabama doesn't go to the national championship. That's what's crazy to me. But they fucked it all up. Auburn's going to do Auburn things. And, yeah, they want that guy the fuck out of there. I don't know if he gets out of this year.
Who?
The head coach of Auburn.
Harsin.
I don't think he's gone this year. I just don't know. I mean, I know that program's got a lot of heart, but they just don't have the talent.
You need some sort of continuity, too, because you can't. You either need to bring in a dude who can recruit out of his fucking mind from the get-go, or you need just some level of continuity to build a base, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. You're going to have Tennessee, essentially.
Yeah, it's interesting because since they had, when Chizik was there and they had Cam Newton, it's almost like they've just been kind of chasing that, which is why they went back to Chizik, trying to bring him in. They're like, okay, we bring that to offensive coordinator, and now they're kind of going to Harsin, which didn't have a great resume kind of coming in. It just seems like there's an administration issue, is what they're kind of trying to overcome at Auburn, unfortunately.
By the way, Mississippi State's going to go 5-7. Mississippi State's going to go 5-7.
I agree, and I don't think they should be in the top 25.
They're losing the first game.
Yeah. Who do you got next, Anthony?
Oh, that'd be 4-8 then.
Yeah.
Next is Oregon at 23. Now, this is actually really interesting. They played Georgia this is a really good storyline. They played Georgia week 1. Right?
It's the afternoon game, 3:30.
But their head coach is now
Cristobal's gone.
Georgia's fucking former defensive coordinator from last year.
Right.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So, and he also brought a couple of linebackers over with him, although it's Georgia, right? So they got plenty of that. But this one's an interesting one to see what this guy's going to be able to do. Because
it's at Georgia. It's a 3:30 game. It's
they're going to get.
It's going to be a skull dragging.
This year they're going to get. This year Oregon's going to get rocked by Georgia for sure, but they're going to win most of their, if not all of their fucking Pac-12 games because the Pac-12 is a fucking joke.
Except for USC, yeah.
Except for USC, man. And I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Cristobal once he went to Miami.
They don't play USC this year.
They're not in the same division.
Their other like their shitty Pac-12 game is their other out of conference game is East Washington and then BYU, but then they play Washington State, Stanford, Arizona, UCLA,
maybe they make the Pac-12 championship. They're going to get their feelings.
But they have Cal, Colorado, Washington, Utah, which is a tough game, and then Oregon State. I mean,
they catch Utah at home though. Which is nice.
They were 7-2 in the Pac-12 last year. It'll probably be the same this year, to be honest.
And their last 3 recruiting classes have all been top 15, I think. Yeah. So they're like.
Wouldn't it be interesting? Like we don't know what's going to happen with the football conferences, especially the Pac-12. I think they are more in limbo than any of the other conferences. But it would be really interesting to see somebody build a defensive powerhouse in the Pac-12. I feel like that team would win the Pac-12 every single year.
Yeah,
but it's never going to happen.
That's Sewell's brother who got drafted last year.
Sewell, yeah.
Noah is there this year. He's a sophomore. He's a linebacker. Should do pretty well, but we'll see. I have no idea.
This is probably about right for them, though, because the Pac-12 is a fucking Power 5 conference, and they will probably win it. It'll be them or USC that wins this conference.
I agree, right? And I think you're going to have a couple of those late-night games that are going to go wonky, where you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, Oregon lost to Arizona State last night by 3.
That won't surprise me at all. By the way, if they go even in the Pac-12, also wouldn't surprise me.
You're gonna talk yourself into Oregon because you're gonna be like, oh, Bo Nix figured it out.
No,
he did not.
No one in the Pac-12 other than USC will ever figure it out.
What if Bo Nix does, dude?
Don't let yourself even start thinking that. This is Inception. You're planting the seed right now that's gonna butt fuck you later.
He's played Georgia before.
He doesn't need to figure it out. It doesn't matter. The rest of that, their division is Washington State, Oregon State, California,
it's really
Washington,
bad.
Stanford. It's bad. Utah and USC, which are the other 2 good Pac-12 teams.
They don't play one and the other one they have at home, so at least that's a fucking boon for them. I mean, they're probably going to go 7-2 or 8-1 in the Pac-12.
Yeah. Who do you got at 23?
20. That was 23. 22 is Baylor.
Oh, way too low, I think.
Yeah.
Baylor's a tough. I kind of had them. They finished number 5 last year,
but they lost a lot of guys, right?
Yeah, they lost a lot. But I feel like they were. I think they were more like a 12 than a fucking 22.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I've got them in the top 15. I think it's a little low for them. That coach recruits pretty well.
Aranda.
And the Big
He's
12,
a great coach.
The Big 12 isn't that difficult.
No, and they're the Big 12. It's the Big 12, right? So it's the conference of Kyler Murray, people like that. Mm-hmm. And their quarterback from last year was, I think, the best quarterback in the Big 12. He had a 72% completion percentage, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like, you can win in the Big 12 with that kind of number, for sure.
And they are actually, bizarrely, you said you wanted to see a defensive team in the Pac-12. They are the defensive team in the Big 12. Baylor is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the only one. Yeah.
They're the only ones.
But they also happen to have an extremely accurate quarterback. So if you can develop any kind of offensive system there, now you're way ahead of the game, Big 12-wise.
Well, Oklahoma State was the only team that played defense in the Pac-12. I mean, in the
Big 12,
in the Big 12. That was them. But Ohio State picked off their defensive coordinator, Knowles, so he's at Ohio State this year, so they don't even have that there.
And also, Oklahoma's just gutted. Oklahoma is not Oklahoma this year.
Oh, yeah. No, I've got them losing.
It's going to take them 3 years to recover from
I
this
agree.
shit, right?
I agree.
And it's like, at Venables, can he really even recruit?
That's the question nobody knows.
Yeah.
He sure didn't do it when he got there, and everybody fled and went to.
Well, they have a loser quarterback as well.
Who is it?
Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, is that their new
Ex-UCF
QB?
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Oklahoma, Venables did a bad job of recruiting. They have the number 8 recruiting class in the country for this incoming class.
Yeah, but this is my problem. This is something that I wanted to run by you too while you're here. We still rank recruiting classes in college football by which high school kids they sign to come to their program, but no mention is made of the transfer portal at all. So the current rankings that come out don't reflect the transfer portal stuff, because UFC would be UFC and A&M I think has the best recruiting class, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Historically,
USC
one of the
is
best of all time,
247 does rank transfer.
Oh, 247 does?
well.
Okay, so that's who you should pay attention to.
And that's who I'm looking at. So USC has the best.
Yeah.
And
that's only because
they
of the
took-
portal,
they
man.
took all the OU
They took all the Oklahoma guys. Yeah.
OU
If you did it the old way, it's Oklahoma and fucking and A&M that have the best recruiting class.
OU is 4th in the transfer class ranking. So Venables brought in some dudes as well. How he's going to put it together, this is his first time being a head coach.
Yeah.
I still don't buy Oklahoma. I mean, they're not going to be easy to beat, but I don't necessarily
Well, the Big
buy
12
them.
isn't like a great. Let's be real. Like if you're extremely good at one of the 3 things in football, you can win the Big 12, right?
Well, but one thing that no one has in the Big 12 is defense. So if Venables is able to bring a kind of smash mouth defense to that program, you say that Baylor, I mean, fuck, that's not really saying much that they're like the defensive powerhouse in the conference, right? So if he's able to kind of switch that up, and then he can kind of find that quarterback to kind of fill that slot, he could do, but it's not going to happen this year. I agree.
It'll be
it's
at
just
least
a shell of a
2
team.
years, if not 3, before they.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works, though. Like you got to get some of your own people in there.
They have an interesting schedule. OU does. Baylor has to go to Oklahoma, which sucks.
Yeah.
And then Texas, Oklahoma is usually what?
That's
first week of October.
It's the second weekend.
Second weekend,
But,
okay.
yeah, during the Texas State Fair, and it's in Dallas.
Got it. Yeah, I don't think much of them, but here we are. Who's up next?
Wisconsin at 21. Yeah. It's another one of those Midwestern teams that, on paper, nothing looks sexy except for like once every fucking 10 years you get one sexy player in there. But
it's still ground and pound.
They play ground and pound with tight
80s
ends.
football.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
We'll see. Like every year that I think Wisconsin's going to be good, they fucking suck. And every year I think they're going to suck, they're in the top 15.
And they'll have some running back that comes out of nowhere.
It's
and
great,
ends up
but they're
competing
always
for a
that
Heisman.
team that they always lose to the team they shouldn't lose to, and then
Yeah.
they beat the ones that they should, right?
And it's worth noting they're going to travel to Iowa this year, and they have to play at Ohio State, but they should lose to Ohio State.
Yeah, they
And
get
then,
rocked.
Another, Dan, this could be a trap game. Second to last game of the year at Nebraska. Nebraska, who
Are you
lost
guys high
every
in Nebraska this year?
Well, they just lost
No.
every game by like 3 points last
Yeah,
year.
that means fucking Scott Frost is a terrible coach.
Yeah, he's horrible. I don't think Nebraska's getting any better anytime soon. Who's up next, Anthony?
20th is the Pittsburgh Panthers, which I don't really understand because
ACC.
Kenny Pickett's gone.
He's gone, and their top wide
And their top
receiver
receiver's
gone.
Didn't he go to
Went to
Bama? He
Did we
transferred.
get Pitts? I know we got Louisville's top receiver, and then one.
So
from
they got
Georgia.
Pitt got in the transfer portal 2 years ago USC starter Kadon Slovis,
Okay.
who last year had 65% completion, 11 TDs, and 8 picks. Not great.
Not great.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's for the ACC. You don't need
Got
great.
the pedigree.
You know where Jordan Addison went? USC.
That's it. That's right. shit.
Yeah, those guys just basically flip-flopped.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
man. I don't know what Lincoln's going to do that first year, but he has got all of the talent, buddy.
It's an easy conference. That is
Man,
my
there's
dark
not-
horse
yeah.
this year.
I think Pitt gets that ranking just solely off the trust in Narduzzi as a coach.
Maybe.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they
maybe.
finished 13th last year, which
They always overachieve, it seems like, but they'll never win anything.
I think part of their overachievement is a little bit of bump from being in a P5 conference, but the ACC is not a legit P5 football conference.
Right.
It's like half of one, and Pitt is
If that.
straddling
Come
the
on.
line.
Again, there's two.
Like, we're beyond the days where Miami and Florida State are good. So they're not even – they're a G5. Like, let's be fucking real about that. It's
Yeah.
Clemson and maybe NC State, maybe North Carolina, maybe – somebody else has a good year that year, but that's it.
They'd be
Overtime,
good.
though,
They'd be good in the new
Cristobal.
Big 12 with those teams.
Well, Cristobal's got the money now.
But not only the money,
Right.
but too, there is talent in South Florida.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and Georgia and Alabama have just been picking it clean.
If
You
they
know,
can keep it in state,
100%,
they got
man.
a shot, but we'll see. I mean, now with paying kids, you never know.
And
the
those
ne-
kids want to stay near home. They
the
want their
next
mom
up
and dads
is
coming to games.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The next up is 19. It's North Carolina.
Oh.
That's interesting to me.
Homeboy left, the quarterback, way too early. He should have stayed and grabbed that extra COVID year.
Sam Howell.
Yeah, he fell to fifth in the draft or
don't
fifth
know.
round or something
He
like that in the
shouldn't
draft.
have-
Yeah, he
he-
turned
that
into a
was a
box
weird.
of no cares for
He-
sure.
Yeah, that was a
Shouldn't have
mistake.
fucking left. But they've got who's the coach? It's the former coach
Mac
of
Brown.
Texas.
Brown.
Brown,
So
yeah.
you always got him. You got to just. They're always going to be competitive.
Yeah, they'll be gritty. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be this year, but it's the ACC.
Well, let's see what their schedule's like.
It's
'cause
an
I
easy
can't imagine
conference.
it's a very difficult schedule.
No.
They're out of conference games are Florida A&M and App State and Georgia State. And then it's all the ACC teams minus Clemson. So they may go undefeated.
Yeah.
Let's be real. This is bullshit.
Well, they got Notre Dame too. I mean,
They have Notre Dame and Miami. Those two games are tough. And
All right.
One of those games is tough. They've had their last three recruiting classes have all been in the top 15. So like they've got the talent. Like they're a good team. They'll be good. I think that's fine. Like they're gonna rack up wins just because
Yeah.
they don't fucking play anybody. So why not?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Who we got next, Anthony?
Next up is Kentucky Wildcats.
Corn Pop is saying, is this live? Yes, this is live. We're live right now.
I'm always into
you say Corn
Kentucky,
Pop?
to be honest.
Yeah.
What's his face? The other fucking Stoops.
Mark Stoops.
Dude, he's built a hell of a program, and they do a good job of like.
and they love playing for him.
They love playing for him.
Yeah.
The crowd gets up now. Like Missouri's game at Kentucky last year was loud as fuck.
Football school.
What?
It's a football school
Yeah,
now.
it's football school now. I mean, dude, they have good defenses. It's always the type of thing though where like they're just not there yet in terms of like they can play against everyone up to like right below the Georgia Alabama.
Don't you always say with Kentucky, like they're just so spirited?
Yeah.
They're going to
They
come
got
out
a lot
and
of
hit you in
heart.
the mouth.
They got a lot of moxie, those guys. But yeah, this is a middle of the road team where they're ranked right now is fine.
They got a quarterback.
I think they'll ruin some people's seasons. I really do.
me
I think they're going to
see.
jump up and.
Dude, if you have a road game at Kentucky and you are a good team, good fucking luck. Like
That's
it's
it.
So they're playing at Florida, but it's early in the season.
Florida's not going to be good this
Florida's not going to
No,
be good this year.
I know. They're probably their toughest game. They have to go to Ole Miss, and that's going to be a problem. They play at Tennessee, but I think they're going to beat. I think they're better than Tennessee. And honestly, like the way Tennessee plays is perfect for Kentucky because they have a good defense, and Tennessee is going to go 3 and out, and again in a minute 30, and they're going to be absolutely gassed by halftime. And Tennessee grounds and pound. They're going to keep that fucking Tennessee defense on the field all goddamn day. Or all goddamn day.
If they're gay, they're gay.
Yeah, you know. And then here's the big one, though.
Our
That's-
buddy, by the way, is a coach over at Kentucky, Joe Scola, the
Yep.
guy that went to the Kentucky Derby with us.
Yeah.
We may have to go out there for a game or something.
He was drinking hard AF seltzers. Sent us
the
a photo.
game you should go out there for, and this is going to be really fucking interesting late in the season if
Georgia?
Kentucky doesn't choke, is Georgia at Kentucky November 19th.
Woo, that's a good game.
That game could decide the East.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Georgia was forced to reload. They lost, 18 players to the NFL draft? So
buddy, that
it's
defense
tough.
is a shell of itself.
If Kentucky wins at
Ole
Ole
Miss,
Miss,
yeah.
then that Georgia game is fucking huge.
Are you saying it could be for the SEC championship?
No, for the SC.
No, for the East,
Oh,
though.
for the East, okay.
Yeah.
Right? So if
And that late in the season,
Yeah.
That crowd is going to get
Yeah.
up. Even if they lose to Ole Miss, that crowd will still get up because they've I don't even know when the last time they beat fucking
They
Georgia was.
They want to spoil Georgia, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a world that, game day could be there depending on what games are that week.
For sure.
Depending on the schedule, and those fans would go nuts.
Oh, they go ballistic on a Saturday night.
And, they're going to be well rested because they get Vanderbilt the week before. So,
yeah. And by the way, if Kentucky does indeed beat Ole Miss and goes into that game with 1 or 0 losses, then they're going to be higher on the rankings at the end of the season than 18 for sure.
Oh,
if that's their only loss, then they're a top 10 team probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Kentucky could threaten for a top 5 finish without making the playoff.
100%. And before we get to the rest of the list, we'll get to our title sponsor, MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros will double your deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.com. We will read you off the odds for the national championship on this show from MyBookie.com and the Heisman Trophy winners as well. Get your picks in early because these odds will change. And if you're able to grab one of these guys before they explode, that's when you can win a ton of money at MyBookie.com. Best in the business as far as early college preseason goes. The first 2 weeks are already on the board as far as spreads are concerned as well. Like I said, Alabama is on there at minus 15.5 against Texas, and Ohio State is its minus 14.5 opening week for Notre Dame. Over under a 58 in that game on MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros. Who's the next on the list?
Ole Miss at 18.
All right. Now that's a fun team. If Lane Kiffin can turn it around, it'd be a blast.
I want to run down their schedule. So
when you play in that division
and losing that quarterback.
Yeah, but
Corral's gone.
Like this schedule is almost like fucking Clemson's schedule. Troy, Central, Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, which could be
That's a fun game.
That's a tough game.
It could be good. It could be bullshit. But Vanderbilt, Auburn, who's not supposed to be great this year, I don't think. At LSU, which can be a tough game no matter how good LSU is.
Right.
Because
Chip Kelly's down there.
It's at LSU. A&M, they're going to lose that game for sure. Alabama definitely losing that game. Arkansas probably going to lose that game.
Yeah.
Arkansas is going to be good this year.
Yep.
Pittman's got those kids playing, man.
Yep.
But to me, that reads like a fucking, 7-3, maybe, not that great.
I mean, is Kiffin really ever going to have better than that, honestly?
Not unless he starts buying people. And he bitched at the media day that they didn't have the money to buy these people the way other programs do. And it was like, hey, that's your alumni's fault. No one else's. So either you go coach somewhere else where the alumni has the money to afford these kids, or shut the fuck up about it because you're in the SEC. And it's not going to get any easier.
Well, and also Rich in Mississippi is pretty middle class in the other 49 states.
Oh, wow. Bob said that. Bob said that, by the way, not me. So you can come at Bob for calling the whole state of Mississippi poors. You just called them poors.
Yeah, I just want to be on the record just in general, by the way. It's not a recession. You're just poor.
Yep. Right. By the way, Ole Miss ranked number 1 in the SEC in offense last year. That kind of skipped by everybody.
It did?
They lost all the people that led to that, but they did pick up Jackson Dart from USC, right? Who was a 5-star.
Oh, is he the quarterback? Yeah.
5-star. And then Zach Evans, running back from TCU, they picked up as well.
They have the number 2 transfer class this year.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
Right?
We'll find out. But right now, I'm with you. I think there's 3 to 4 losses on that schedule.
They're going to trip over their own dicks. Like, I don't buy it. Like at the end of the season alone, they're probably going to be on a 4-game losing streak going into the Egg Bowl.
And they may go into that 7-0, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it's, which is going to be a lot of hype and Kiffin, but he'll shit the bed. Without a doubt,
yeah.
Next up is Penn State at 16. This is probably right. Yeah. Just because of the quality competition they're going to play, they'll probably come in here, but they're not going to do much.
They're 7-16.
Well, it depends. Like,
their schedules.
Yeah, that coach puts it together, and their schedule's not that bad. Dan went to Penn State.
Year, yeah.
Who is it?
They got Purdue, Ohio, which is Miami of Ohio, by
Correct.
the way. Right, like Ben Roethlisberger, Miami of Ohio, not real Ohio.
Right.
Just to be clear.
Bearcats.
Auburn, which could be a tough one maybe because
No.
it's at Auburn, so who knows, right? But then Central Michigan, Northwestern, at Michigan, we'll see. TBD on Michigan this year.
Right.
We'll see. But Minnesota and then Ohio State, they're not going to win that one because, it'll be the whiteout game this year again.
Oh, it's at Penn State?
Yeah.
Shit.
And then they have Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, and Michigan State. Those are all wins. So
they lose 3 games.
it's probably 9-2, 9-8-3, something like that. So they'll probably come in around 15.
All 4 of their last recruiting classes are top 20, and 3 of those are last top 50, or 3 of the last 4 are top 15.
Penn State
they've
has,
got the dudes.
Penn State has no identity. It's not about just having the talent.
Right,
you have
for
to have
sure.
an identity. They haven't had one since fucking their identity was child rapists. Basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they still haven't overcome that and reestablished themselves. Before that whole bullshit, it was the legacy of Joe Pa and Rudy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not Rudy, really, but like it was like they were the team in the Big Ten that was the tough, gritty team that was also kind of blue blood. Kind of like how the Rudy story with Notre Dame always equated it to that. Now they have no identity at all.
And every game against Ohio State has always been tough. Like they show up,
They play hard.
They
play hard, but if you have to have that extra piece,
right?
And it's not players. Like having the best players doesn't make the best football team always. That's not how that works. There's 53 dudes. You know
and once they tore down that shower there, I think they lost some of the mystique.
Yeah, they should have. What they should have done instead was bring on some of the other notable assaulters, like not Omar Vizquel. What's the guy's name?
Well, it is Omar.
Omar
Vizquel.
Vizquel.
Yeah.
Brought him over, let him become like the equipment manager or something. I don't know.
I mean, look, he has great hands. Work with the receivers.
The fact that you guys have somehow navigated cancel culture is just...
We came out hard early.
We started hard. Then we never had to switch.
I see.
But the good news for Penn State is they have Clifford coming back. If he's healthy, right? He was kind of banged up last year, but they have him coming back, so you have some leadership at your most important position. But I don't see them, like, to be honest, I don't expect them to win more than 7 or 8 games.
They're the Ole Miss of that conference.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, James Franklin he's not going to be able to do any better than what they have.
Now, to me, this is the most shocking one of the entire preseason rankings. It's Michigan State at 15. No fucking prayer that they're ranked at the end of the season.
So they had them at 25 in the other rankings I was reading, and I thought that was more appropriate. They lost the running back. They've got Mel Tucker. They've got a great head coach there. They'll play gritty defense. It'll be cold. I don't know what their schedule's like, but that seems very high. And
they're bringing their quarterback back. I don't know what their schedule is, yeah.
I mean, their big non-con game is at Washington. Snooze. I don't know, man. This team is. I bet you
Rutgers, Indiana.
I bet you they do something random like lose at Illinois. You know what I mean? Like it's just who cares? This team is gonna be fucking boring. Maybe they'll be ranked. I don't know.
I also just don't think Mel Tucker's everything everybody's making him out to be.
Well, I think he's the best at what they could get, right?
I think that's a fair statement.
And it's the same with Michigan with Harbaugh. Like that's the best that they can get. They can't fire him, so he's going to be there.
He seems like a great dude. He reminds me of like Sylvester Croom. They used to be at at Mississippi State. Great dude, probably a great coach, but just not going to win 12 games.
No, I agree. Who's up next?
Next up is the Oklahoma State Cowboys at 14.
Oof. I don't see that at all. At 14?
They finished 7th last year.
They're pretty good, man. Like they
lost their defensive coordinator.
I don't care. They still have Gundy, who's one of the best coaches. Gundy's
fun, yeah.
And he's definitely the best mullet in the league.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pretty much any school would kill for
They have to go to Baylor. They have to play Texas Tech. TCU at TCU. That's a tough game. Texas, but it's at home, so they'll probably win that one because Texas is incompetent. Texas is like the Mets, right?
At this point, yeah.
At Oklahoma, that's a tough game. You're talking about a 4-loss team that in the Big 12, which, yes, P5, but not the SEC. A 4-loss team in the Big 12 is not going to be in the top 15, I don't think.
Not the top 15, no.
Right. You wouldn't. I mean, that doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Who do we got next?
13 is Utah, who
they could
probably
be in the college football playoff.
They may be a top 10 team actually.
Yeah. 100%.
Because they do
of who they play, or
that's part of it, and the other part of it is that they do everything well. They just don't have if they were able to get for a 2 or 3 year period, get a guy like Lamar Jackson to come to that team, just to convince somebody like an amazing 2-way quarterback that can run and throw. I know, but
his name's Cam Rising.
We'll see, right? Yeah. He might end up being the guy. So if they ever get one of those guys to come through their system, just like Louisville did, they will have a year where they are contending for the national title because they do everything else really well. And all the stuff that you need to do to win games, they do it well. They just don't have any stars.
And they look good against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Granted, they were playing Ohio State's B team,
and then he got hurt.
He got hurt at the end of it. Another kid came in, so. I'm not real sure because that was the game all of Ohio State seniors sat out, and then they played all freshmen.
But they played in the Pac-12 and only gave up 19 points a game.
Yeah,
like that's pretty good. Of all things being equal, that's a pretty good fucking thing to have on your resume.
It's not bad. Is the rest of their defense returning, Delco? Do you know that?
I mean, they're always good defensively, just because it's the guys they roll in every year.
Well, plus you can't drink there. It's all 3.8.
Yeah.
So.
It's all Samoan guys, man.
They have their USC. There's a lot of Mormons at Utah, at the school. I mean,
right.
USC comes to Utah, which is huge. Utah is a fucking awful place to have to play.
Yep. It is, yeah.
It's like the reverse of the Vegas flu. Like, you're so bored, you can't even think about football.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about it, where, they have the fireworks go off pregame, and then the smoke just stays the entire game.
And that's the most exciting thing because there's inversion in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the air doesn't flow out properly. It has the worst air of any city in the United States.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
So, what are they ranked right now? 14?
13, I
13.
think, yeah.
They're going to be in the top 10 after the first week because they are going to go to Florida and butt fuck Florida.
I think so too.
So they're going to be. They then don't have a game they even remotely could possibly maybe lose until USC comes a month later.
And if they win that game, because USC is going to be top 10 at that point probably, just because of prestige plus the relative ease of their fucking schedule up to that point.
If they don't blow it, if they don't screw anything up, And then other than that, the game, their entire season hinges on the Pac-12 championship and going to Oregon on November 19th. That's it. The entire season. If they win at Oregon or lose at Oregon and win the Pac-12 championship and Oregon's their only loss at Oregon, they're probably in the playoff.
Yep.
Well, we'll find out who's up next.
A&M.
Texas A&M.
At 12, yeah.
Woo, that's low.
Nobody knows what to make of this.
Way too low.
So A&M and USC, nobody knows what to make of either one of these organizations right now because they have a lot of new people coming in with a relatively new program on both sides. One through paying for players, one through transfer portal players, right?
Yep.
Nobody knows what to make of this situation. How long does it take? So we've had this debate about, remember when LeBron and Bosh went to the fucking Heat to join Wade? Like, how long is it going to take for these guys to get it together? It took them about
a year and a half, 2
You're
years.
talking
well,
about
it took
19-year-old egos.
Yeah. It took
them
them half the season. Like they started out the season like dog shit. They fucking sucked. And everyone's like, man, this is a huge mistake. No, it takes you like 30 games to get even a rhythm together. So the problem is you only play 11 in college football.
Right.
How long is it going to take this team to come together? I think either A&M or USC will probably outperform whatever rankings they're given right now. And the other team might take a year, but both of these teams in 23 and 24 are going to be really good fucking football teams.
I'm just curious to see what Jimbo's able to do when he's dealing with this much ego.
Yeah, LA is not
this
fucking
much
Oklahoma,
money.
brother.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a whole different fucking situation.
It's just going to be a different. So I'm curious to see what he's able to do because I agree with you. He has all the talent, but it's brand new.
And it's also a public versus a private school, which is a totally different situation.
What?
What do you mean, what?
Oh, I talking about Jimbo or Lincoln?
Lincoln, yeah.
Wait, so
Going to USC.
who are we talking about? That we're talking about A&M.
Yeah, A&M and USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the two teams that have the biggest question marks because how well are they going to perform?
Yeah.
I have no faith in Lincoln Riley. I have a lot of faith in Jimbo Fisher.
We'll see.
Why the faith in Jimbo?
Well,
outside of Jameson Winston, he hasn't really been able to
has
do
a
it.
natty, which most coaches don't have.
Okay.
And this is
They
the
beat
talent
Bama last year.
The talent at Texas A&M, it's not like UT talent where it's like, yeah, they always have like a really good, a pretty good class, like top whatever. Like this is like a Kirby Smart level recruiting over the last 4 years. Like,
Kirby Smart's a good person to talk about, although not that he's the defensive mastermind over there. But A&M has, I think, if I looked at this properly, they have of the edge rushers and linebackers, they have 4 of the top 6 dudes that came to college football this year.
Yeah.
They got all 4 of the
He
top
has
6
them all,
dudes.
but that's what I'm saying. How is he going to manage those egos, right? And how is he going to do it that quickly when this is the first time that he's had kids that are making more money than the coaching staff?
Yeah.
And now he's got to get them all to come in and show up, and that they're all going to have to learn how to play together and wait their turn and all. I just think Jimbo has his hands absolutely full for the first time.
But it's going to be a blast to watch, though. I want to circle back to that Utah-Florida game. Spread is out. It is minus 2.5 for Utah.
Smash.
Hammer that. That is going to be in all my
Holy
parlays.
shit.
Opening day. That is
Florida's
fucking
only getting
nuts.
that because of pedigree.
That's
their history. Yeah, there's
That's
no
it.
other reason.
And
But
these first week games you can hammer because nobody knows yet, and that's one of those games. you can fucking go ahead and hammer Utah that opening game. 2.5. My God. Yeah, who we got next on there?
Next is Auburn at 11.
Oh, why? What? Why?
I don't know. They were 6-7 in the SEC, or total, and 3-5 in the SEC last year.
It says there's always a few surprises in the ESPN rankings, and this is one of them.
Man, preseason rankings are trash.
I'm surprised. Haven't heard UCF's name. Are they in the top 10?
Or did UCF?
Yeah, we'll see
did
at
they
the
crack
end of the year.
in? Maybe they're.
No,
below.
we'll wait. We haven't looked, so we don't
nice.
know yet.
Yeah.
They've got to
We'll
be
see at
up
the end of the
there. Auburn, look, I don't think anybody gives a shit about this team or believes in this team. I'll go out and make a bold prediction. I don't think they finish in the top 25.
That's not bold.
That's not bold at all.
I think that's a
Not
But at
remotely
11,
fair
if they're at
statement.
11 now and they're not going to finish
Again,
in the top
preseason
25?
rankings mean nothing. Most teams in the top 25 don't finish inside the top 25.
All right.
Yeah, I actually would be curious to see if the preseason rankings even bat 500.
No.
I don't think they do.
For who stays in the top 25?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the usual suspects like Alabama, Ohio State, anyone in the top 5, yeah, that's going to be fine. They're going to be there. But anybody 10 to 25, that's usually a miss.
No, you said it right. You're outside of the top 5. The top 25 is just a joke.
Yeah, and it'll change. Who's up next?
Well, I don't understand the A&M one at 12.
And then Auburn at 11.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
don't either.
looking. This is A&M's schedule: Sam Houston, App State, Miami, Arkansas. That's a tough game, but they're playing at State College.
No. A&M? They play in Dallas.
Oh, it's at Dallas.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's
play
still
neutral in Dallas,
that's
yeah.
still neutral though. That's not
But
like
that's
at
true
Arkansas.
neutral.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's
Yeah.
still
That's an easy
like
drive.
Not at Arkansas.
Yeah.
For both schools.
Mississippi State, Alabama's a tough game. Nobody's questioning that. But then South Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn, UMass, and LSU. Like, there's a decent chance
Is
that
it
the
at
Aggies only
LSU?
lose 2 games in the season.
Maybe one.
Maybe one,
Yeah.
right? That's not.
Is LSU at LSU?
No, it's at home.
Okay,
for
cool.
the
Okay,
Aggies,
LSU
yeah.
is going to be – they're not going to do it this year, but they're going to be tough bastards this year. Like, they're not going to be a fun team to play.
They may pick a couple of people off, but if you're a one-loss team going into that game, you don't take it for granted, right?
No.
I don't know.
I just
I don't
hope
get
Chip
that.
Kelly
I don't
does
get. I don't get Auburn ahead of A&M.
I have
That's
no idea.
That's a weird one. This
why
is
that's
like
in there.
some asshole wrote this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But look who's at number 10.
Yeah, number 10 LSU.
Why?
What the fuck?
Chip Kelly? You've got that much?
Brian
Kelly.
Or Brian Kelly? You got that much
Kelly,
faith in
but
Brian
there's
Kelly?
no
It's Chip's
way.
brother.
I just hope that Brian does all press conferences in a Southern accent. But
Same.
What if he just did an
personally,
impression of
yeah.
Orgeron the whole time he was there?
We're gonna play Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
He's facing a whole new different level of Catholicism in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that Midwestern shit you're used to. They have the number 3 transfer class this year.
Auburn and LSU though.
LSU's going to be good.
Gross.
LSU will be a top 25 team for sure, maybe a top 15
Brian
team.
Kelly's going to win a national championship in the next 5
He
years.
might. Brian Kelly is going to win.
he's not.
And how old is Brian Kelly? Because I think he's going to win 2 national championships in the next 10 years.
Yeah, but that's not how that works. LSU, if you win a national title as a coach at LSU, you immediately go to a better team to coach.
No, you go to
or you
die.
get fired.
Yeah.
It's one of the
Yeah.
two, right?
Or you cheat on your wife. And,
Yeah.
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 Or all of them.
There's
Yeah,
no
you do all-
there's no multiple
It is
win
actually just cheating.
LSU seasons anymore.
Yeah, Les Miles. If you're Les Miles, you grab some KU assistant's boob or something.
Right.
And if you're
Sure. Cup of tit.
if you're what's his name, the fucking caveman.
Orgeron?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
shake your wiener at chicks at the gas station.
And if you can win a national championship with Les Miles or Ed Orgeron, you can win a national championship with Brian Kelly.
I don't know. Joe Burrow only comes around now.
I was
and
going
then.
to say,
Yeah.
Not just
man.
Burrow.
And Les came in with what Saban had built and rolled in and just kind of took it, and then he literally destroyed it.
It will all
Dude,
depend
it's
on
not
how
good.
much money LSU has to spend on
a
kids.
lot.
They're going
A
to spend
shit
the same amount
fucking
that
ton.
everybody else is spending, which is like fucking $50 million.
That-
give
I just
or
don't think
take.
Kelly can get him fucking motivated.
I don't either.
You know, I mean,
Kelly's
he had a
gonna win
ton of
natties.
talent in Notre Dame.
He never won
No,
that.
he didn't. No, he didn't. That's the thing.
And we
Those-
boat raced his
talent-
ass 42-14.
His talent was lies. Those weren't real talented kids.
Yeah.
No actual good football player goes to the middle of nowhere, Indiana, to play
He
fucking
also
football.
doesn't have to adhere to like academic standards.
Oh my God, there are no academic standards.
At LSU?
No.
I mean, you have to be able to sign up for classes and shit. But if you make it that far, you're good.
And by the way, I don't even think you have to do that because someone just do it for you.
That's true. Yeah, you could hire a consultant for that probably.
Yeah.
I want to I wish we just knew someone who was 17 and incredible at football,
Whoa,
so we could be
whoa,
like,
whoa.
"Hey, will you pretend to not know how to read?"
Who's your team again?
Missouri.
Okay. I get when people start talking about like cheating and all that. I always want to find out who their team. I didn't know if it was Vandy but Missouri makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Miami at 9. That one I can believe.
Well, it depends on how well those kids are that they've paid.
I don't know
what? It's going to make this season fun because there's so much freaking uncertainty, but there's
Yes.
great coaches at historical programs that have just been shitty in recent history.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm really
But now they have
curious
money.
if they can-
So those shitty coaches
Yeah.
have money. So was it the difference of the money or their actual talent? This is when we'll start to find out.
Well, we're going to find out.
Brian Kelly's a great
before
example.
kids went to go win a championship and to get into high draft pick, right? Now it's like, oh, I can go get a paycheck and still possibly get a high draft
Which, by the way,
So
is
it's completely
if you're a quarterback, that's a really bad move to make, in my opinion. We've talked about this on the show a lot before, but there's a reason that Ohio State and Alabama quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL. And it's because when you can just throw the ball in any direction and some 5-star athlete will catch it and run for a touchdown, it makes you look really good on paper. But in the game, you don't really develop. You don't fail enough to
You're more
learn
of a
the
system
lessons.
quarterback, is what you're suggesting.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. But Miami's really interesting, right? We're going to find out something really interesting about the NIL in general this year, and it's what we found out about Alex Anthopoulos and over the years John Sherrills as well. People like general managers in baseball who make really smart moves as GMs that may not make sense to everybody else, but it makes sense for that team because ultimately you're not trying to get the most amount of talent on your team. You're trying to get the best team to win a fucking game.
And they spent $9.5 million on a 4-star.
On a 4-star, right? So does this mean that they think that this guy's particular skill set is suited for the Miami offense, or that he's better than the recruiting what really was? And is he going to pull the first Moneyball situation in fucking college football in the NIL?
Yes.
This is one of the most interesting stories of the entire offseason for college football.
And the ACC is easy. So if they're just remotely good, they can mow through that conference and work their way up the rankings.
Yeah.
This might be close.
Plus, they have the prestige of being a fucking blue blood organization.
Oh, yeah. And they'll all show up. All the alumni always show up.
If they win their games, they will be a top 10 team no matter what.
I think that's it. The alumni, it's like what?
Hold the phone. Miami's alumni?
Yeah, Miami's got two.
No. They do not show up to the games.
Not the alumni,
They will
but they
if they're
spend
doing
money.
well, though. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same
Money.
thing that happened when Carroll got to USC and everybody started coming out. I think if you got Mario Cristobal down there, who's a baller. I think he's going to get these guys excited. And again, you have to focus on the amount of talent that's in South Florida. The wide receivers that come out of South Beach, buddy.
And to your point with Carroll being at USC, because we were there during that era, they were so good and Carroll was so good that OJ tried to go into the games, and they were like, no, you can't fucking come in here. Like, even O.J. Simpson tried to show up with those motherfuckers. Like, nobody was going to USC games before that.
I'm talking when I first moved to L.A., the stadiums were empty.
Empty.
Like, free tickets, and you walk in, and there's no one there. And then when Carroll came in and what he was able to do, and the community got behind him, and I think we can go back. I mean, Miami, it wasn't that long ago that they were such a powerhouse in that state. And NCAA, I just think it's a sexy university. I think it's a sexy city. And again, I think there's a ton of talent that they're going to be.
College football fans still remember Ken Dorsey and that run of greatness Miami had.
Yes.
It still
20 years
lingers
ago.
in the back of people's minds. And I think if Miami came together with a program that wins 9 to 10 games a year for the next 2 or 3 years, now you're talking about being able to build exceptionally good teams.
Plus, he's changing the culture down there. He got rid of the turnover chain. He got rid of all that bullshit. He's like, we're a unit. We're a team. There's no individual honors in the middle of the game.
He needs to take the fucking names off the back of the jerseys, too. Like, that's a big thing for me in college. I like that Notre Dame does that because that's one of the reasons that Notre Dame outperforms their talent level almost every year.
Well, Dan, it's not going to happen now because they can sell those jerseys.
That's
So there's no fucking way that name's going
Next up
anywhere.
at 8 is Oklahoma.
No.
They
Unless
won't
their
finish in the top
schedule's
25.
easy.
Well,
I
the
just-
schedule's not bad.
Their schedule is pretty easy. I don't understand. All right, this is another one where we don't really know what's going to happen here. You know what I mean? Like you have an idea that like,
Who's under center?
yeah. Well,
Yeah, who
that's
is
a good
who is
question.
their
Dylan Gabriel,
quarterback?
right?
Dylan
Yeah.
Gabriel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Who is
Gabriel,
a
And how is he
capable
at
quarterback, but kind of a
UCF?
cunt,
He's a
right?
front runner, right? So, like, when things are going well, he plays well, he pads his stats. Whenever he faces any type of adversity, he fucking collapses.
Okay.
So, Levy's a good OC, though. Levy's a really good OC.
I kind of think they're going to lose week 3 to Nebraska.
Is it at Nebraska?
Yes, it's an old Big 8 rivalry game. Nebraska has a top 5 transfer class. Like I said, they lost like every game they lost by like 3 points last year. It was like the type of thing where like it's statistically impossible to lose that many games in a row by that little amount of points.
Maybe, right? Would you say the same thing about Mike McCarthy at the Cowboys, though, because of how poorly he manages the clock in the last 6 minutes of the game? He lost him at least 2 games last year just with his poor clock management, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And can Frost really do it?
I don't think he can.
It's been 7 years. Man.
Here's the thing with that, though, with just this game in particular, old, very intense Big 8 rivalry that Nebraska fans haven't got to watch in a decade, basically, since they left.
They'll be hyped.
They're going to get up.
Yeah.
What does a hyped Nebraska fan look like exactly?
So
can we describe that?
So when they were good, they
eat like a whole thing of corn
hats.
Yeah,
they've
like
got
a
the
whole
corn.
thing of corn. And
Yeah, so they've got the corn hats. You know how the Packers have the cheese heads?
Yeah.
They've got the corn hats, and they come out and rage. They've just been so pissed off and angry for 20 years that they're terrible.
Well, I think unless the corn has HGH in it, they're probably going to lose that game.
Dude, how do you stay motivated though when they come out and the fans are fired up, the team's playing well in the first half, and then they literally shit the bed in the third quarter?
Yeah.
It just or the fourth every game last year it seemed like.
But
One thing that's against Oklahoma on this too. I already have a game time for it, 11 a.m.
And it's at Nebraska
Yeah.
at 11 a.m. That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Because you don't get there until Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks. Like you get there
Have
Friday
fun.
afternoon, then you have to fucking do a workout and then go to sleep at fucking 7 p.m. so you can get up and be on your normal let's play at fucking noon to 2 p.m. schedule, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks.
And
Sucks.
look, people from Nebraska probably have more fun at 11 a.m. than they do at 6 to 8 p.m.
That's true because they've done all their farming from 4 to 6.
Right.
Yep.
All the
Now,
chores for
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
now
yeah.
they're
The
able to actually
chores,
cut loose a
cows
little
are
bit.
milked, everything's good. Who do we got next?
Texas at 7.
You're laughing. Okay, it was Texas. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
Texas
where
went
that laughter was
5-7
coming
last year.
from. And they've got him that high?
Fuck off.
Quinn Ewers has never, he played one snap at Ohio State. It was a handoff for a touchdown.
He might be great, but Texas
Or he could be shitty.
Texas is like the fucking Bad News Bears, dude.
Yeah. Bijan Robinson is good. Their offensive line will be pretty good. Their defensive line, I think they got a bunch of guys because they paid them all. They might be okay. And I guess it's a down year for Oklahoma, so maybe, but not ranked in the top 10.
Hudson Card's probably going to start for them, by the way. Not
No.
Ewers. Yeah.
Not a prayer.
Yeah.
If they do that, Ewers is going to leave for the transfer portal
He'll
by
leave
week
again,
4.
yeah.
He'll have to
Yes,
by week
probably.
4.
He'll be the Tate Martell of this
Which
this
I've been saying
generation.
forever, yeah.
I mean, if he can end up making 10 or 15 mil without ever playing a fucking game in college,
God bless.
Well,
Good for him.
but the problem is the contract requires him to start 8
Yeah.
games, so we'll see. I thought Card transferred. Did he stay?
Yeah, they're all there.
Okay.
They got like 4 really good quarterbacks in the room.
God damn.
Have you guys gotten a hold of any of these
theoretically.
NIL contracts?
Yes. So there was one, and then McAfee got a hold of one as well on there, and a lot of them are taking advantage of the kids. The weirdest part about these contracts, and I read through one of them that was sent to me, is you need a Hollywood agent and a lawyer, essentially. So you need a CAA sports agency to come and do these deals for you. I don't know what the rules are exactly on who is able to execute these deals, but you also, I mean, at this point, if you're a kid making this much money, let's say University of Miami's quarterback at $9.5 million, you need a sports agency to read through these contracts for you and execute them, or you're fucked. But I don't know the rules on that as far as agents and lawyers go at that age. And I don't know that the parents would know any better either, because most of these fucking kids are from small towns. They don't know to go and get a good Hollywood attorney or anything like that.
I think they're learning now because that's what Will Anderson was talking about. Alabama defensive end was saying that it's been beneficial to kind of go through this process as a student before kind of getting dumped in the NFL and it kind of hitting you when there's real money involved, right? Not that $9 million isn't real money, where you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So I am curious about it, but I was more curious how these deals looked and the way they were structured as it relates to health and if the athlete continues to start throughout the season and so forth.
Starting,
how much is guaranteed?
So the money for guaranteed kicks in at 8 games. So if you're in a 12, 13-game season, depending upon your bowl games, if he starts 8, Quinn Ewers gets that full contract. Now, if somebody else is in there before that, nothing you can really do about it.
Well, after Hudson Card gets fucking Eiffel Towered by Alabama.
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower.
Whoever starts the season as a starter probably won't be the starter at the end of the season. I think that's a fair thing to say. ESPN's FPI has Texas at a 41% chance, I think, to win the Big 12. 41% chance to beat A&M, like to win it over A&M. That seems unlikely to me, right?
A&M is in the SEC.
Or not A&M. Oklahoma.
By the way, Texas, so S&P Plus, which I know you dunk
Baylor,
on me all the
really.
time for, but like the kind of like best, to me, statistical evaluation of teams, they have Texas at 31st. Like, this team has 4 losses minimum on
Billy
this.
C doesn't have any confidence in them.
Yeah. No, well, you have to do Kentucky windage on Texas every year. If they're preseason ranked 5th, they're like a 22 probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. And we're going to get to it, but it's the same thing with Clemson the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knew that ukulele kid sucked. And now he's going to be the starter going into this year after what he did last year.
Yeah.
And they still have him ranked 4th.
Oh, this year?
Unfucking believable. Yeah, well, let's keep going down the list.
Yeah, who we got?
At 6, it's Michigan. They had a good year last year. They're trying to build on it. For some reason, Harbaugh is jumping.
They were playing for Harbaugh, weren't they?
And they were all seniors.
For some reason, Harbaugh's jumping into the abortion debate, which I don't
Over
understand.
and over again.
Why
Every
are you
press
talking
conference.
about this? Go
I don't
coach
know.
your fucking football
What did he
team,
say? I'm
bro.
going to take care of all the babies.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
He said,
Can you imagine like millions of little babies in fucking tidy whites and khaki pants?
That's why you
That's
should
what it's
abort
gonna
them.
be.
Yeah, it's
well,
like, dude.
I would assume his strategy is like, yes, like I'm pro-abortion, and then send me all the children that survive it.
Yeah, blindside them, but like on a longer scale.
Yeah.
He just wanted, because those are the tough ones.
Throw me one of those sodas over there. Since we're gonna get canceled today, I may as well be fucking happy when it happens. Now, Michigan will probably be a top 10 team this year, I think.
It depends on their schedule. Who's their schedule, Bum?
I'll look it up, but their last 3 recruiting classes are all top 10.
I know they play Ohio State at Ohio State this year, so they're gonna lose that one.
But they play Colorado,
For sure.
Hawaii, UConn, Maryland, and then at Iowa. That's a tough one. But Indiana, Penn State, but at home. Michigan State, Rutgers, Nebraska, Illinois. Last game's at Ohio State. So that's like a 2-loss team, probably.
So my dream is they go undefeated going into Ohio State.
I think they do.
And then Ohio State wins by 40.
I don't know how they lose.
I think they do. I think they go undefeated going into Ohio State.
It's Michigan. I just expect them to fuck something up.
Same. I think they'll fuck up one. Yeah,
and you
I'm
talk
with
about them having
At
a great
Iowa.
recruiting class. Like, Harbaugh came in with an incredible recruiting.
True.
People got so excited and just he could not put it together.
Yeah.
I think last year he was playing for his job or coaching for his job, and I think the kids were kind of playing for him. I don't see it translating into this
And it was,
season.
I don't either.
It was a down Big Ten, and obviously as soon as they came up against a real team,
Yes.
they got their fucking spines ripped out of their assholes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It was that was bad. We won a lot of money off that game. $5,000.
What was
Do
the
not
line?
tell
It
me.
was stupid. Like,
It was. We bet first half, and then we bet whole game. I know this. My take home that day was $5,800.
because it was the type of thing too where it's like, okay, yeah, they're both good teams, so I understand, I guess, so you don't want to make it like a double-digit thing or something like that. But like Michigan was, it wasn't just that Georgia was way better than Michigan, is that Michigan was set up perfectly to get destroyed by Georgia. Like the style of play they played.
The
Like,
thing they did good, they did like their best feature was something that Georgia did way better than
Yeah,
them.
the run game, and then they had the best run defense in the
It's just
nation.
like, what the fuck are you going to do
We
here?
parlayed that with Alabama and cleaned house that day.
That was
But the fact that Michigan came in and said, we're going to stick to what Michigan does. I'm like, guys, that is the reason why Harbaugh is not going to have success. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to
Quarterback is
pivot
terrible.
and
Yeah.
figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
you got to throw the ball against Georgia. You can't just ground and pound against those guys.
No.
Don't tell me number 5 is fucking Notre Dame.
5 is Notre Dame.
They're losing week one.
I can't.
It's 14 and a half.
Do you
Hey,
need
man,
another
if you're
hard
gonna
shot?
I'm
lose-
good. I just got one.
You just got one?
Yeah.
It's 14 and a half. Week one is at Ohio State. Game day is there. It is the night game. They're going to get blown out opening night. I don't understand this unless they're saying Notre Dame's going to run the table after Ohio State.
and they're not.
No,
Who's their schedule?
Dude, they've got a brutal schedule.
At North Carolina is a game they could potentially lose.
Yep.
They play Clemson at home.
They play
We'll
BYU
see.
on the road.
We don't know if that's going to be good yet. Well, no, BYU they're playing it. Well, that's on neutral territory, I think.
Is it?
There's an asterisk
At a
next to it.
different
That's
church?
usually-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a neutral location.
Yeah, that would make sense.
They're going to play it in the
But their
Salt
last
Lake.
game of the season is at USC, and nobody knows what that's going to look like yet.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
That could be a very difficult game for Notre Dame.
And that's when USC is probably going to figure it out, too.
Yeah.
They're going to run them out of the building. There's no
You're talking
fucking
about
way.
this. all things being equal, if you just told me Notre Dame top 5 for the season, I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right. In any other season, but this year I think they're going to be outside the top 10 because they're going to lose 3 games.
Yeah.
And being independent and not like having any opportunity to win a conference championship, you're kind of fucked, right?
And again, I think this coach, I know that the athletes love him, but he's got to prove himself. Like, we don't know what this guy's going to do.
No.
When's the last time a first-year
Martin Sherman's
coach
a really good D
went
coordinator,
wild and won something?
He is, but
A coordinator and a head coach are such a different thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, look how many coordinators have left Alabama and shit the bed? You know what I mean? Like, but they were
only one of them
they
has
won.
beat Saban.
Yeah,
Kirby Smart.
Kirby, right?
Yeah, Kirby did. He
Yeah.
was the only one. He's the only one that cracked
and he did it the second time, right?
Yeah.
After we blew him out in the SEC championship game, so it's tough to win them both games.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll give you props as we get to Alabama at the top of that because I still hate that rule and I think it's fucking bullshit. To have to play a team again after you beat them by 30. If I'm a Bama fan, I'm pissed off by that. Great,
Well, because we knew
1-1.
we weren't going to be able to do it twice.
Nobody can.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It's tough for sure.
yeah.
Oh my God, number 4
Yeah.
is.
Other
Is
than
it
other than
Yes.
Michigan State, number 4 with Clemson, this is Michigan State. I don't think is realistic, and I don't think Clemson at 4, despite playing in the fucking ACC. Where is the offense coming from?
I don't know.
Exactly, because if it's the same guy,
It's not only
It is.
Oogly and Lay.
If it's
So
DJ
Ukulele's back.
whatever the fuck.
He's down 30 pounds. I guess he went on a vegan diet. I saw him
Great.
on TV the other day, and they were like, "Oh, he's serious now." I was like, "Hey, his weight wasn't an issue."
No,
Like,
it wasn't the weight. It's the fact that he cannot complete fucking passes.
right. So I
God
don't
damn it,
really
man.
understand why the weight loss and everything else. His body, he had a big body and he could run. He could throw when he was a freshman. I don't know what
Again,
happened last
Dabo
year.
Swinney's going to have to prove it without Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence.
Even more than that, without Venables and
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
yeah, without any of it, he's never had to reload coaches
Never.
before.
Yeah,
I actually
I
don't
agree
even
with
care
that.
about the quarterback. It's the
I
coaches.
I care deeply about this quarterback, and here's why: 55.6% completion percentage, which is bad.
that's in college.
Nine touchdowns and 10 interceptions in college.
College.
You should be at a 3-to-1 ratio in college.
In an ACC.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fucking
And
terrible number.
He's 25-1 to win the Heisman.
Yeah, you can.
He only ran for 300 yards last year. It's not like he put up fucking 700.
You can go ahead and light your money on fire and throw that out the
Don't
window.
make that
Don't
fucking
do that.
bet.
How many games do they lose? Because this isn't exactly a rough
I think
schedule.
there were 8. Wait, there were 9-3.
No, I mean
total,
this year. How many
Oh,
games do you think they lose?
Their
this year?
schedule
Well,
looks pretty
hold on.
easy. NC State's going to be tough.
But it's at home.
Notre Dame's going to be tough. It's at Notre Dame.
They'll probably lose that game. Miami comes to Clemson, but they could lose that game. But those are the only two I even see on the schedule.
Yeah.
Unless Wake or Boston College gets up.
That's a possibility, but we're talking about the end of season rankings here, and if Clemson happens to make it to the CFP, which is not going to happen, but even whatever bowl game they're going to make it to, they're going to get lit the fuck up.
So
Unless it's like some random
Duke's
number
Mayo Bowl.
25 in the country team, they're going to get their ass handed to them because that'll be a chip for whomever they fucking get matched up with in their bowl games. It's gonna be like, you know what, we can go out and beat Clemson this year and make a name for ourselves because Clemson sucks.
Yeah, and we can butt fuck
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney.
Yep.
maybe the only thing with this is that like I only see 2 losses on this schedule, and the Notre Dame one does not count against the ACC standings, right?
No, it doesn't because they're not in the ACC for football. They are for basketball.
Yeah.
Right. So I only see one real for sure potential ACC loss. There could be other ones. So they'll probably make the ACC championship game. They'll probably win. There's a good chance they win the ACC championship game, no matter who they play.
We'll see. Miami's pretty good.
So, but here's the thing though, is that like they could fucking get a New Year's Six bowl and finish top 10.
They're going to lose to Louisville.
I think they'll get a New Year's 6 and lose.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to
Yeah,
happen.
they'll get a matchup against a team
Yep.
that's just way better.
Yeah, and they'll get fucking ass rams. Who do we got next? Who's at 3?
3 is Georgia. The 3 through 1, Georgia. So it's Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. I think those are pretty much at this point in the preseason are interchangeable.
Locks. Yeah.
Like that, but that's how it works almost since the fucking CFP became a thing. It's the top 3 teams and who's going to win out of those top 3 teams.
Right.
Because we've not varied from that once yet. Notre Dame will slip in, but they get hammered by
Oklahoma
Ohio
will
State.
slip
or
in,
they'll
yeah.
get hammered by Clemson, right? Oklahoma will slip in, but they'll get hammered 30-3 or whatever it was. Like this is now we're actually having an adult conversation about who's going to win the fucking CFP this year.
Jackson Singletary in the chat says Georgia had one of the most efficient offenses in football last year, and they're much better in offense this year, and they will run the table be undefeated going into the SEC championship.
The first half of that statement is true,
Bama.
but are they going to be able to reconstruct that entire defense? Time will tell.
They had
we'll
crazy recruiting class. So
they always do. I mean, all of them. Kirby Smart is at present the best recruiter in
But
football.
Georgia's defensive coordinator is gone.
Yeah,
he's a head coach now.
Yeah.
Unlike what's his fucking name, Dabo. Kirby has reloaded before. Kirby has had to replace coordinators before.
Okay.
He has. I don't
and
really
Kirby's
believe
rebuilt a team quickly. I just don't know if Stetson Bennett.
I was just going to say.
But Stetson
Kirby
Bennett
has called plays before.
Stetson Bennett is Trent Dilfer. He's fucking what's his nuts from the Ravens.
Yeah, just a game manager.
Like you, if you're good enough in those other areas, you can fucking win.
Yep. He's Alex Smith.
But they lost how many guys on defense?
15.
8?
Well, 8 on defense, 15 total.
Yeah. So I mean, that defense is what was able to keep them in the game, right? I mean, outside of that,
it's tough to reload this quickly. But
Clemson couldn't do it.
But I'm saying you're saying that Georgia's going to get in a shootout with people?
Georgia has
no.
Georgia has,
and that's what they're going to have to do because they're not going to shut anybody down.
Yes,
right.
no, they will. Georgia has only one game on their entire fucking schedule that I'm worried about.
Who is it?
At Kentucky. That's it.
I'm not worried about that.
Listen to this. They get Oregon at home first week. It's going to be hot as balls. It's not Oregon weather.
Right.
And I think Oregon will be good, but I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. Then what? At South Carolina, who gives a fuck? At Missouri, I love my guys, but no. Auburn's not going to beat them. At Georgia,
Florida's neutral. Where's that game being played?
It's always in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Florida's probably not going to win that game. Tennessee's at Georgia. Like the toughest road game they have, other than Kentucky, is at Mississippi State.
Let me read you the opening spread here on mybookie.com for Georgia, Oregon. It is Georgia minus 17.5. That is a big boy number.
I might just stay away from
that. And the over-under is interesting. It's
17.5 on a completely reconstructed team?
Yeah.
Well, not completely.
Pretty much.
Completely reconstructed.
Stetson Bennett is the only one left.
Stetson's coming back, but that's it. I mean, we got one of their great wide receivers.
Georgia played
transferred to Alabama.
Georgia's defense was their primary weapon, right?
But keep in mind, like when we say reconstructed, there's new starters, but they're not new to the team. They were practicing. They were playing in the games last year.
Well, Kirby said it himself at SEC Media Day. He said, we're not celebrating anything because this team right now hasn't won shit.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's pretty smart of him to say, but it's also very true.
It is, yeah.
It's also because everyone that day was asking him, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to rebuild? Like, you've lost 15-year starters. Like, what are you going to –
And it's a champagne problem to have because you win the national championship.
It's college football. It's how it works.
That's how it works. And it's the national – Bob's already spilled his drink all over his computer.
Not a great day. Not great.
Yeah, so it's good.
A little dry.
Who do we got at 2? Ohio State?
2 is Ohio State, yeah.
All right, so –
Just put in a big box of rice.
Look
It'll be
at
fine.
that, dude.
Going good today.
You're going TP with that. You're going TP with it. With Ohio State, so the only question mark is the defense. They got Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator of Oklahoma State, came in and replaced it. They got a ton of fucking Jack Sawyer, all those guys on defense. It should be on paper because they have the best offense in the country. It should be on paper, Ohio State versus Alabama in the national championship. So I agree with this 1-2. And then who would win in that game? No idea. It's a coin toss. But we'll see if they remain healthy and they get there. We'll find out.
Does Ohio State have any traps?
No. No.
At Penn State, the whiteout game is a trap.
Oh, yes, correct. But it always is. That game is always hard.
That's one that you have to fucking manage your way through.
But without the talent and the athletes, I just don't see. I don't care how many white shirts are in that stands. It just doesn't.
I'm pretty sure the whiteout game we went to, what's his nuts, was still the fucking running back. So it's like they had a pretty good team still.
Yeah, they did.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley was there.
And they still almost
should have won the game.
Right?
They were up by, 21 in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
And Ohio State came back?
That's a trap, but all their tough games are at home. Maybe Michigan's at home.
Notre Dame's at home.
Wisconsin's at home.
Wisconsin's at home.
It's all about if they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah, Michigan State and Penn State are your toughest road games.
I kind of expect Stroud to go for 5,000 yards this year. I think he's going to set some records this year.
Yeah, because you've got Jackson Smith and Jigma, who broke all the records in the Rose Bowl. Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming out of Texas. He was the number one recruit there.
So we'll get to it in a minute on my bookie, but if you're gonna bet, like if you want the easy money on a bet for fucking Heisman, it's probably C.J. Stroud. Unless he gets hurt, he's probably gonna win.
But the odds are shitty. It's plus.
Yeah, I know.
It's 1.5 to 1. If you're looking for a dark horse in Ohio State, Travion Henderson.
Nobody on Ohio State is gonna win except for C.J. Stroud, right?
Their running back, he's the closest that I've seen to Ezekiel Elliott in college.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Stroud's going to throw for 4,500 to 5,000 yards. You're going to have to do that much better than him to win on that team.
I don't know if betting on an Ohio State player to win a Heisman is smart because there's so much talent there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough footballs to go around for that team. If you're looking for a dark horse in the Heisman, I'd probably pick the quarterback out of USC. That Caleb.
If you're going to pick a dark horse,
he's not really a dark horse. He's going to be like
I would say
it's 25-1 right now. So
I would say Will Anderson. If you were to say a real dark horse, I would say
Will Anderson's top 5 though.
But he's the best. But there's no way a defensive player is going to win the trophy. And he's probably the best football player in the country.
What's Cam Rising right now?
Caleb is 25 to run. Let me look up
Cam Rising.
Cam Rising. In the meantime, I'll look this up. Bama is at 1. Who are they bringing back, Clayne?
We're bringing back a lot of talent. I mean, we lose our receivers. We lose Jameson Williams and we lose Mechie. But we have the transfer from Georgia and from Louisville.
And Bryce Young's still there, too. That's
Bryce Young's still
part.
there. I mean, great quarterback,
Yeah.
And then we've got Gibbs from Georgia Tech that transferred, which he's a beast. And our defense is all back, and we're fully loaded on defense.
Your defense is nasty.
Nasty.
I mean,
we've got shutdown corners. We got that kid out of LSU that transferred.
Yep.
Is one of the best in the country.
Eli Ricks, yeah.
Yeah, man, that kid's super smoking.
Alabama might have the best defense in the country this year.
I would say just from our edge rushers alone, right? I don't see – there's no one that's going to block Will Anderson. And if you want to double team him, you got to deal with the linebackers on the other side. So I think defense this year could be really exciting for Alabama. And as it relates to the offense, look, it's one of those kind of years that you look at it, and I'm like you on paper. It's just a matter of everyone staying healthy. But sometimes those are the shitty seasons, right?
I know.
I know. It's like when it's like you always go back to that USC team, that third year, right?
But all these guys, so in the Heisman Trophy race this year, the odds have changed in the last 24 hours because I just bet on this 24 hours ago. So C.J. Stroud is now at 2.5 to 1, essentially. He's the favorite. Bryce Young is at 3.5 to 1 out of Alabama. Caleb Williams has now jumped up to third at 7 to 1 there. Bijan Robinson out of Texas, the running back, is at 21 to 1. Will Anderson is at 22 to 1 there. Dylan Gabriel is at 28 to 1.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. Jackson Smith and Jigma is at 28 to 1 out of Ohio State. Travion Henderson. If your dark horse is 32 to 1 on Travion, I would go just in case. And then DJ Ukulele is at 33 to 1. That's gross.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He ran for 300 yards, and this is the ACC, and he had 9 touchdowns and 10 picks last year.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
They got Quinn Ewers, by the way, at 35 to 1. He's close. So you say he's not going to start?
That's a gamble on name recognition producing a fucking positive vote.
That's Tiger Woods at any major.
Yeah. But, so Bryce Young at plus 350, that should be plus 1,100 probably, because only one person in the history of the Heisman Trophy has won it twice at all, much less back-to-back.
Right.
It's not going to happen. He's not going to win it again.
And then I'll go national championship odds real quick.
Hold on, can I give you a Heisman dark horse?
Go ahead, yeah.
That I like?
Yeah.
I love, at least for the odds, an actual dual-threat quarterback on an SEC team that's going to be pretty fucking good. I like
Arkansas?
KJ Jefferson from Arkansas.
I was going to say Will Levis from Kentucky.
What?
Will Levis from Kentucky.
No, they will never have an offense to warrant a Heisman Trophy in the history of that program.
Though.
Will Levis is legit. I just like KJ Jefferson better.
Yeah.
And I like Arkansas's offensive coordinator better. I just like that team better in general. KJ Jefferson is plus 7,000. Will Levis is plus 6,200. Like, both of those are – I like either of those bets, to be honest. But KJ Jefferson, if you want a value pick to sprinkle, I think he's going to rack up stats.
I also think Arkansas is going to chip on their shoulder.
I do too. And they look good last year. The one question mark I have off that list is, where was USC?
Nobody knows who USC is.
Right.
But to not put them in the top 25 with that team, that coach, those transfers is crazy to me.
They
will be
top 25.
They'll be in the AP.
They'll be in the AP, but
I don't know what this fucking ranking is from ESPN.
But here's the thing. So I'm looking at the odds on my bookie right now.
They're fifth.
They're 22 to 1 still, where it's just like, that's a great pick. I do. I'm going to throw 100 on it just to do it because we don't know.
By the way,
that team's going to get better as the year goes on, but they don't play anymore.
Clemson's like 11 to 1, and if this were the stock market, I would bet every dollar I own to short that bet.
100%.
Like Clemson, there's a 0% chance they're winning a fucking national title.
What do you think Vegas odds would look like if you could short them?
They would look fun to me because I'd be shorting the fuck out of a lot of stuff.
By the way, here's my thing with the USC and everything. Everyone's all hyped about them getting fucking Lincoln Riley and getting all these recruits and everything like that. Dan gets mad at me when I say this, but I don't care. Oklahoma got worse every single fucking year under Lincoln Riley.
He's a hater.
They had diminishing returns every year that Lincoln Riley drifted further away from Bob Stoops. They got worse and worse and worse. First year, they almost, beat Georgia and could have won a natty. Second year, blown out. Third year, blown out. Fourth year, don't even make the fucking playoff, and now Lincoln Riley's gone.
And they kept losing in-state dudes to Texas and LSU and a couple of other teams. Like, you can't do that. So now it kind of makes you wonder, are all the SoCal talent, or all the other coaches in college football like, let's just go poach these dudes now because this guy's incompetent.
Yeah.
Because some of the best fucking receivers in the country come from Southern Florida and Southern California.
Yeah, Texas got some pretty good ones. I'll read the odds for the championship. It is Bama at right around 1.5
plus
to
184.
1. Yeah.
There's no point in
Ohio State is at 3-1. Georgia is at 3-1 essentially. Clemson is fourth in this list.
It's like 11-1.
11-1.
Based on fucking what?
I know.
On Dabo doing
It's
the
all
fucking
Dabo.
gritty the other day. Like, fuck off, dude. You had your shirt tucked into your shorts.
Yeah.
That's not a person who wins. Winners don't tuck shirts into shorts.
They don't.
I'm going to say it right now.
I sure don't. USC
Fuck
22-1. Aggies, Texas A&M. That's a dark horse for me at 22-1. We don't know how good those players are going to be.
Yeah, but 22-1. That
bought.
should be 40-1.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But
then you got Oklahoma and Michigan.
yeah,
None of these. I mean, this is just like
worthless.
This is just like throwing random blue blood names onto the.
you have to think about the path to get there, right? So what does Michigan have to do to get to the CFP in the first place, but also win it? They have to beat both Ohio State and Alabama.
Right.
Not one fucking prayer.
No.
That's happening.
No.
So 35-1, yeah, that's just like those are numbers on a piece of paper, man.
Right?
That
You
doesn't
bet the
mean
lottery
shit.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's $810 million. You have a better shot at that, in my opinion.
Like if you did the actual math on these, I don't know how they make these odds. This is a trap thing to get Michigan fans to bet on it. That's all it is.
Same with Texas.
Oh yeah,
for sure,
this is like
100%.
we should start our own book and just like get people to bet on like
What
really
the actual statistical odds of the – so what are the statistical odds of Michigan beating Ohio State, and then what are the odds for them beating Alabama, right, who's the presumed number one for this year, and then multiply those two numbers by each other, and that's the odds of them winning the CFP. Fuck off, dude. It's not happening. Jesus Christ.
So let's go around the horn real quick. I'm going to ask you for your Final Four and your college national champion. We'll start with you, D'Anthony, to end the show.
Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, A&M.
Okay. And who's in the
three SEC teams.
Who's in the title game?
Alabama and probably Ohio State. Like I don't think it's going to go back to back SEC. But if it was Georgia, Alabama, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Okay, and
because Georgia's got the pretty easy regular season schedule, and if they win or lose the SEC championship, they're going to end up in the CFP and play. It's going to be the same shit from last year, right?
And who do you got winning the national championship this year?
I think Alabama on paper this year it might be better than that fucking 2 years ago LSU team, to be honest. Like I don't know that I've ever seen a team that has as competent of an offense, which they always typically do unless there's injuries, but then they backed it up with they're putting a fucking Georgia and Ohio State level defense on the field as well.
They have the best defense in the nation.
It's a fucking game changer for Alabama. Like now you don't have to necessarily rely on that shit. So I'm looking at
if Will Anderson stays healthy.
Yeah. I'm looking at the odds for Alabama's games this year, and usually where I would expect to see 23-point spreads or 24-point spreads, I'm thinking it's going to be in the mid-30s now. That's how good this team looks.
Yeah.
I think they could be like that Mac Jones team in 2021, where they were kind of picking the score, you know. I would say it's hard to say Bama and Georgia are going to be in there again. Which means you're talking about two teams going undefeated, having a close game in the SEC championship and both making it. I would say Bama, USC, Ohio State.
Who's that fourth team in there?
It's hard not to pick another SEC team. Just
but I don't know.
It's
if
got to
they're
be
gonna
Georgia.
give them 3.
It's got to be.
There's
Georgia.
no way they're going to give them 3. There's no way it's Texas A&M because just the way the numbers line up, like they'd rather stick fucking TCU in there, just because you're talking about 3 West teams too.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you're talking about 2 teams from the West and 1 team from the East.
Well, you're talking about 2 one-loss teams and an undefeated.
That's the other thing. So I mean, it's just, gosh, I guess I would have to say, based on they just have no competition, but it's just the same teams. I'd say Alabama, Georgia. I'd say Alabama, USC, Ohio State, and Clemson.
I think I would go Notre Dame over Clemson.
I just don't think Clemson has
Notre
anybody
Dame's
that they're going to play.
Week 1, yeah.
I think Notre Dame's
But
going to get
That's
fucking
a one-loss season for them. Right?
If you're gonna get butt fucked, do it week 1.
Yeah, do week 1.
Clemson's probably going to get hit twice this year.
And then who wins the national championship?
Again, on paper, I think it's Bama, but to me, that's the year that always makes me feel nervous, when it seems like you've got everything kind of laid out. I think it's tough for complacency. I'm hoping these kids are playing because they've got a chip on their shoulder. Historically, after a loss in the national championship, Bama comes back and wins one the next year. So if history tells us anything, it's going to be a Crimson Tide, but yeah, that's what I would go with.
Okay, Bob, who do you got?
Ohio State, Georgia,
Okay.
Texas A&M, Utah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear Alabama. Maybe it's my headphones.
No.
And he just gave you a round of applause for that. I did not hear
Now,
Alabama.
why did I get a
you
round
just-
of applause for that?
I think
Where
the
is
Utah
Alabama
pick.
slipping up?
Are you
in
going
your
full edgelord here? What is going on?
No, you want to hear
Where's-
edgelord? You want?
Well, hang on. We'll get
I don't want
to
to hear your G fucking.
We'll get to him. We'll get to him. Where does Alabama lose?
A&M. And Georgia also loses to A&M, and they have to choose them between a team that lost in a conference championship game or a team that didn't make the conference championship game, because Utah will be undefeated.
That has happened.
So hold on,
before,
Texas
buddy.
A&M.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is coming to Tuscaloosa when we owe them one, and they're going to beat Bama
Yeah.
in.
Man,
in
that would be
T-Town.
a punch in the fucking mouth right there, buddy.
It really would.
Like if
That's
he,
a bold prediction.
if he wants some fucking shit talking on Saban, that's the one right there. Like
Yeah.
fuck what even Kirby Smart beating him in the Natty. That would be better.
Because A&M, you don't owe A&M one. Well, you do owe A&M one.
we owe
but the way
A&M
A&M feels too, you have to think about is A&M is they now believe that they are due the West. Like this is they want it to make it their kingdom. They think that Saban might be not really over the hump, but they want to kill the king. They got the
He's
king in the
pissed
jaw.
I think they got a target on their back, and I don't think they're going. I'm excited to see how this team performs, just like
It's gonna be
Georgia, when
fascinating.
that target is on your back
gonna be
for the
fascinating.
first time. When you're not the headhunter, but everyone's coming for you.
right.
We saw how LSU handled that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how.
Which,
Texas
by the way,
A&M
was
handles
entirely manufactured on his part. You know what I
Whose?
mean? On A&M's as a program's. They
It's
didn't
smoke and mirrors right
They
now.
didn't win anything last year. Oh, they won.
They finished fifth,
they beat
right?
Bama.
But
They
their
beat
whole
Bama.
fucking
Yeah.
their
They
whole
beat-
season was based on Alabama.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
They
how
beat
Auburn.
Bama, but it was like-
Auburn puts all their eggs in that one basket. And it's
Right.
like, come on, man.
I love those four. I think Utah is going to win the Pac-12 and maybe one loss or undefeated, but it'll be good enough to get in.
That's probably true. I don't know if they'll make it to the CFP, but they'll probably win. They'll almost assuredly win the Pac-12.
So who plays
Unless
the national
USC
championship?
does well.
I mean, I guess the two SEC teams would not play each other, right? So it would be A&M and Utah or Ohio State, and then Georgia or Utah and Ohio State. So I would say I like. This is tough. I'm going to go A&M over Ohio State.
So you got A&M winning the national championship.
Yep.
They called Georgia last year, which
We called Georgia and the Rams.
in
They
preseason.
They
yeah.
did. So I'll give it to you. They called it preseason.
But I'm going to go ahead and say right now, for the record, that you're full of shit.
Before I get to my picks, we'll go to Delco's. I got to hear these every year. This is the most entertaining shit of all time. Now, you did pick Georgia last year.
I did.
So who do you got this year? Final Four and then the national championship.
All right. So we're going Alabama.
Okay.
We're going Ohio State.
Yep.
We're going Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And we're going with your ACC undefeated champion, the University of Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God.
Why didn't you say Miami?
Why do you hate money?
If you had said Miami, I would have been like, yeah, that's an outside
Hear me
chance
out.
of that.
Look at the schedule. Look at who Pitt plays. Their hardest game is Tennessee. It's at home.
They're going to lose that game.
They're not going to lose that game.
I think they'll lose that game.
Narduzzi's a way better coach than fucking Heupel. Are you kidding me?
I know that,
Keaton
but
Slovis is now their quarterback. I love Slovis.
I don't even see Pittsburgh on the board on my bookie for winning a title.
Yeah, they're plus they're plus 14,000.
So $100.
I didn't say they win the title. I just said they make the Final Four.
Okay.
Undefeated. Look, they played no one. They'll catch Clemson in the ACC championship. They'll beat Clemson, and they'll be undefeated and make the Final Four.
Okay, so who's in the championship?
So it'll be Alabama, Ohio State.
Okay, and then who wins that game?
Ohio State.
Okay.
If you want, by
It's
the way,
nice that you've got him on payroll.
just two quick good.
No, he never picks Ohio State for anything.
No.
The Ohio State.
Yeah,
The
we
Ohio State.
trademarked it.
If you want two good sprinkles to win the national championship, I like Utah because I do think they're going to make the playoff. And if you want to get real fucking weird and sprinkle, go Kentucky.
Gross. I'm not doing anything.
wanna get really weird.
There's just no world, and the fucking Utes playing an SEC team will get absolutely boat raced and exposed.
I think-
I can't even. I respect all of you people very much, but this is the most asinine conversation I've ever fucking been a part of.
I don't have
as it
them
relates
winning.
to the NCAA.
These are
and
sprinkles.
collegiate athletics, for God's sakes.
Look, this is we're talking ice cream toppings here. Sprinkles.
No, I get it. My Final Four are Alabama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and USC. I've got Ohio State and Alabama in the national championship game. And I because of the
fucking
defensive
toss-up.
coordinator at Ohio State, and it's the best offense in the nation, I'm going to pick Ohio State, but it's going to be 48-45. If they do end up in it, it'll be just a goddamn shootout.
Whoever has the ball last.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
What do you think is best for college football, though, with all the conference realignment and all this shit going on? If USC makes it to CFP and happens to win, does that help the Pac-12? Because they've kind of called off their potential partnerships with Big 12 and ACC now. They're just kind of still trying to do their own thing.
Well, no, you talking about USC?
Yeah.
Oh, no, USC is in the Big Ten. So USC and UCLA.
Not yet.
Well, not technically yet. So that's what I'm saying. Like the Pac-12 is still trying to negotiate on all this.
No,
Right.
they're going to leave, though.
Yeah, they're
probably
going to leave.
probably going to leave. But if USC wins the title this year, do they still leave? You know what I mean? That's the thing.
I think so, but like this team. So here's what's interesting about USC, and if you're going to sprinkle for me, I'm sprinkling money on USC and Texas A&M
and for Heisman as well. That one of their players.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I agree on that because with the
It's
coach,
not really a sprinkle. He's plus 700. It's not.
Yeah. But as far as the national championship is concerned, like it's 22-1. That's decent money. Wow. But this team is only going to get better as the year goes on because they're going to get used to each other. You've got the same quarterback, wide receiver, head coaching combo, and I believe the running back from Oklahoma also left. Mm-hmm. You've got 3 great pieces on offense in a weak division. I mean, in a weak conference that they can keep getting better as the year goes on. I think where they get caught is in the CFP, but they're going to put them in there, and especially with them going back and forth between the Big Ten and then the Pac-12, I think it's great for them. And also, a thing that's very underrated with USC is the Los Angeles sport market.
Yeah.
For ratings-wise, they want those ratings. Yeah. So if they're close on that, I think they shove them in there. But I agree with Bob. They could lose to Utah. So who knows? Cam Rising looked pretty goddamn good in the Rose Bowl up until he got hurt last year. And they probably only got better. So we'll see.
The reason that UFC is when they put a good team together, the reason why it lasts, like you think about Clemson, they had a run of like 4 good years, right? And then a run of 4 years after that where it's just mediocre after mediocre performance based on what you've experienced before. The reason USC tends to put together great programs for extended periods of time, because like you said before, their alumni are kind of tuned out, but once they're good, their alumni come back, and while they don't have the numbers that Texas and Ohio State does campus-wide, like 85,000 and 75,000 people respectively on campus at any given time, the media, especially in Hollywood, USC has a lot of fucking arms reaching out to a lot of fucking wallets.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's a private university, one, and two, it's a private university that produces a fuck ton of entertainment lawyers and fucking people in Hollywood,
Spielberg,
people in media,
Lucas, all those guys went there.
That's money that comes in. Like
Dr.
now
Dre.
that NIL is a thing, if USC shows any potential whatsoever, that money starts to come back in, and now USC becomes a fucking dynasty.
But that's how their fan base is as well. And Ross and I know this, that whether it's with the Dodgers, whether it's with the Lakers or the Clippers, these guys, the fans show up as soon as you start doing what they're so
bandwagon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers, even when they suck, but it's only because if you're like a
the
D-list,
Mexicans are always
if
there.
you're a
Mexicans always there.
If you're a D-list celebrity and you show up to Dodger Stadium, they will call your name out over the fucking
Yeah,
That's why Pat Sajak sits behind home plate every game.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, I think anyone that's not an SEC team is helpful for college football in general. I feel I even said as a Bama fan, it was really good for Georgia to win last year, or it was just people are starting to lose fucking interest, when the same teams continue to be in it and continue to win it.
The biggest problem was you had Michigan in there, and their fans were hyped last year. And then you had Cincinnati in there last year, which was also good for college football. But then those two teams got in there and got fucking curb stomped like everybody thought they would. We all bet against them on this show and
but we
everywhere
were
else.
right about Cincinnati's defense.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's defense was a legit Power 5 defense.
Desmond Ridder just didn't
But
show
we
up.
also knew that, but also Saban, unlike Michigan, unlike Harbaugh, went into a game and goes, okay, I know what I can't do, and I'm not going to be able to throw the ball downfield, right, or run the ball on these guys. So I think you've got to be able to make adjustments, and I agree. We all went into those games, and I think the same thing would happen with the USC. Right, because they're just not going to be battle tested.
They're too young.
You come in
for
and
now,
you got to play a team like a Georgia or an Alabama, and bottom line, they're just not going to be calloused.
Yeah.
I just don't think you're able to kind of gain that in the Pac-12.
We'll see. And they don't have that. Like, it's one thing to talk about the transfers they have coming over from Oklahoma and shit, but they don't have Reggie Bush. They don't have Leinart. They don't have these guys that are like, not that either one of those guys did a whole lot of shit in the NFL. Right, Bush a little bit more than Leinart, obviously.
Let's be honest.
They don't have Pete Carroll, but we'll see about all that. But they don't have that like 1-2 punch standout player that we're used to seeing when USC is really good.
Yeah. Williams is a playmaker, but he is super inconsistent.
Yeah.
So he'll keep you out of the game for a while.
But the problem is you're
maybe,
not going to know it because the competition is not that great.
Yeah.
So you're not going to know it until the end of the year when they start really playing people, and that's when you'll find out.
That's true. When Oklahoma was in a really close game against Kansas last year, I was like, well, this is just a tough conference. So
yeah, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't.
Hey, maybe Texas will beat Kansas this year.
It's at KU.
Yeah.
Ooh. Caleb played the best when he was not expected to, right? When he came in, like that first game he came in when Rattler got pulled out, he played really well, and then he kind of took some slumps. So I think, as you kind of to your point, finding that consistency is going to be really important for this team. But again, I say the same thing with Texas A&M. Because of the money, you can say what you want, and we can say that Saban's been paying players, but at the end of the day, he's been able to kind of manage talent. And to have guys like Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones, who are all three quarterbacks in the NFL starting right now, he was able to keep those guys kind of intact. And I don't know if Lincoln Riley's going to be able to kind of manage the egos, and the same goes for Jimbo Fisher. I think that's going to be the true test with this new climate, with the amount of money, and again, ego that kind of goes in with these kids. And how are you going to be able to get them to kind of play as a unit?
It'll be fun to watch. Bet with us or against us on mybookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros will double your deposit up to $1,000. Mr. Clayne Crawford, thanks for being here. We've had a lot of hard AF seltzers at this point, so words are going to be Biden's. So we should fucking end this at this point. For D'Anthony Holloway, Clayne Crawford, Hot Bob, and Delco Dan, this is the College Football 2022 Preview Show. Good night, everyone.